Chapter 1133. In a distant era, the heavens and earth were in turmoil, and the gods fell. It was unspeakably bitter. Too many clans and experts died without knowing why. It could be said that in less than a year, the entire universe was bleeding. All life was in disaster, and corpses were everywhere. It was an era full of blood and darkness. The universe was crying, and it was tragic to the extreme. No clan could protect themselves. In the once prosperous cultivation world, many great Tao masters fell one after another. It was difficult to resist the dark disaster. This was darkness covering the sun. Similarly, it was also the experience of the immortal planet. All life was suffering, and no one was lucky enough to escape. The entire universe was going to be darkened. On the final day, a once glorious orthodoxy appeared. It united experts from all walks of life and integrated the sources of power in the world to resist the dark power that eroded the universe. They wanted to survive and save the universe that was about to be crippled. What was darkening? Fairy Xia didn't know, because this question was too profound and too difficult to understand. Darkening the entire universe. This topic was enough to frighten mighty experts to death. Who would dare to answer it? Who would dare to believe that such a tragedy had happened in the universe? Even the universe couldn't resist it. It was enslaved and darkened. Who could resist the darkness? There were also natural disasters and man-made disasters. That era was a world where taboos ran rampant. They could easily devour billions of lives and slaughter a star field. The chaotic land was thus born. Because the world was killed and collapsed, it automatically turned into a state of chaos. Similarly, countless orthodoxies were buried in it. These orthodoxies were once prosperous to the extreme. Many of them turned into incomplete universes and drifted in the chaos. After a long time, they showed signs of loosening. Thus, they benefited generations of people. Chaos ruins. This was the origin of the treasures in the chaos ruins. It was too bloody and dark. This was a massacre that collapsed the heavens and turned into a vast chaos ruins. The world was beaten into a state of chaos. That year, this group of experts united to resist the darkening and made an even more terrifying decision. They sealed the universe that was already damaged, because if this step wasn't taken, the universe would be completely turned into ruins. No life would exist, and the universe would be declared dead. There wouldn't be a million years of peace. The Buried Region Clan. Suyan's scalp went numb. This was the origin of the Buried Region Clan. That's right. They sealed the incomplete universe, making it difficult for the taboo to come into being. They resolved the man-made disaster. Fairy Xia nodded and said, "When this day comes, the origin of the universe will be greatly damaged. All the taboos will be severely injured. Some are dead, some are injured. None of the taboos are spared." As time passed, the people of the outside world began to call your tribe the tribe of the buried region. Fairy Xia said sympathetically, "Your tribe has indeed saved the lives of the entire universe, allowing the universe to still exist and operate. However, some people will not let you off. If the seal disappears one day, it will be the day of your tribe's catastrophe. Do you know that these taboos have been sealed for over 1,000,000 years? They have endured countless years of loneliness and countless years of trauma." Xia Fairy's eyes were cold as she said, "In the current environment of the universe, these injuries are difficult to heal. They have endured far too much. If that day really comes, you can imagine what will happen to your Buried Region clan." Fairy Xia looked at Su Yin, her sympathy increasing. "Although your tribe did this in order to help the universe avoid the catastrophe, in the end, you offended some ancient orthodoxies. These taboos will always bear a grudge against you." Su Yin felt a chill run down his back. The seal of the universe had begun to loosen. In the future, the universe's environment would completely return. When that day came, the taboos would be the first to come and settle accounts with them. Moreover, this was a terrifying and bloody era. Su Yin and the others needed to face it. This was because they were the people of this tribe, and also the strongest of the younger generation. My tribe has made great contributions to the universe. Why should they? If the universe is destroyed, what good will it do to them? Su Yin was resentful. He felt that it wasn't worth it for them. After all these years, the Buried Region clan had shed too much blood. They had to face the crazy revenge of the various tribes of the Ancestral Hall. The endless slaughter had never stopped, but their tribe had. They had made this decision in order to ensure that the universe could still exist. Why did they still attack the Buried Region clan? This made Su Yin feel indignant. Su Yin, there are some things I don't understand. The environment back then was too complicated and involved many aspects. Even the old leaders of your tribe might not know more than I do. Zixia Fairy said, just like the remnant tribes of the Celestial Court that united the various great forces to form a new tribe. I think this is the main point. Su Yan's breathing was heavy. He had once guessed that the hundreds of millions of troops of the Celestial Court had left their homeland for war. He was afraid that the enemies behind them would remember them. Could it be that they had been attacked? What is the dark transformation? Su Yin asked. He didn't understand the Celestial Court and didn't dare to make wild guesses. I don't know. If you ask a taboo to stand out, he might not know. Zixia Fairy shook her head and said, I once guessed that when the dark transformation happened, some people were eyeing the remnant tribes of the Celestial Court, which is to say, the Buried Region clan. Perhaps they wanted something. This might be the source of the man-made disaster. Su Yin suddenly had a thought. Could it be for the Snow Mountain Dragon coffin? But unfortunately, the universe has been sealed by them. The taboo can't come out. Your tribe has opened a time gap that has been broken for millions of years. Zixia Fairy sighed and said, but the taboo has a long lifespan. When the universe recovers, they will complete the task of millions of years ago. Once the universe's environment returns, the taboo will be unrestricted and can walk between heaven and earth. Then, that day will be the day of your tribe's catastrophe. Su Yin felt a chill down his spine. There would be chaos in the future, but chaos was just a wave in the darkness. There was an even more terrifying catastrophe waiting for the Buried Region clan. This was the most terrifying and serious problem. Now, are you willing to go to the Hell Palace? Zixia Fairy stretched her waist, revealing her curves. Her full breasts were raised high. She said with a lazy expression, with your talent, there is some hope for you to come out alive. But even if the hope is slim, I think you should pursue it. Su Yin was silent for a moment. Then he said, someone from your Dao Temple went to the Hell Palace and came out alive. That's right. Zixia Fairy stood up. Her waist was slender and her body was light. She stretched out a jade finger and rather boldly tapped Su Yan's forehead. She chuckled and said, perhaps the world doesn't even know which person came out of the Hell Palace and broke through the taboo. Su Yin was shocked. Goosebumps rose all over his body. A powerhouse who came out alive stepped into the taboo. In this sealed universe, the taboo couldn't come out. But someone in the Chaos Pagoda's Hell Palace had defied the heavens and broken through the ranks of the taboo. This was really frightening. Su Yin, listen to me. Go. Break out of your path and fight for a glimmer of hope for your tribe. Zixia Fairy stood up with a brilliant smile. She said, rather than die kneeling, why not die standing like a man? Seeing Zixia Fairy's encouraging appearance, Su Yan's face darkened when he heard the last sentence. This girl didn't know how to say something nice. I'll seriously consider it. Hearing Su Yan's response, Zixia Fairy turned around, grabbed the seventh son of primal chaos by the collar, and dragged a corpse with her. She walked away valiantly. The surrounding people were stunned. This little fairy was even more barbaric than Su Xianren. Su Yan, I'll help you get some benefits. Zixia Fairy's chuckling voice came from afar. Wait for me here. I hope you can seriously consider it. I'm not an alarmist. This day will come in less than 100 years. Do you think that with your cultivation progress, you can step into the peak of the Almighty in a few decades? Even if you can break through to this realm, do you think you can be of help in the future? You are the strongest of the younger generation of your tribe. You should shoulder this mission. A slightly heavy voice echoed in Su Yan's ears. He looked at Zixia Fairy's departing figure and had an illusion. Could this girl be the one who came out alive from the Taoist temple? Thinking of this, Su Yin shuddered. How could it be? She couldn't be a taboo. But today, Su Yin had learned a lot of things he wanted to know. At least he had figured out the origin of his tribe, although it was difficult to trace it back to the era of the Celestial Court. There were many variables in the future, but only by being strong could one cope with all changes by remaining unchanged. For the tribe, for my homeland. Su Yan's blood surged like a hot-blooded youth, unafraid of death. He only wanted to protect his tribe. He took a deep breath, calmed down, and began to heal. He had to hurry up and recover to his peak state. Then he could explore the paths and methods in this trial space and find a way to open the Hell Hall as soon as possible. It's finally quiet here. The entire trial space was quiet. Many people breathed a sigh of relief. After a few days and nights of bloody battle, they got to know Su Xianren again. Speaking of which, being able to cultivate by Su Xianren's side seems like a good thing, someone suddenly said. Someone suddenly said, causing everyone here to laugh. Outside the trial space, everyone waited quietly, wanting to know what was going on inside as soon as possible. As for the two sons of chaos, they were well-behaved and did not dare to breathe loudly. The three leaders of the Taoist temple stood in front of them, suffocating them. In the end, when a woman in purple with a celestial aura walked out of the trial space, she attracted the attention of everyone present. However, when they saw that she was dragging a corpse, they were all dumbfounded. Seventh brother. Fourth brother was furious. Although he was blind, the energy of his soul was still there. He could see that seventh brother was dead. Seventh brother. Eighth brother also lost control and roared. Seventh brother was dead. He was killed by Su Xianren. Everyone lost control. Ninth brother and seventh brother were killed by Su Yin one after another. The consequences of this were too shocking. Everyone was trembling. How could such a ridiculous thing happen? This was the Valley of Chaos, a giant orthodoxy that looked down on all sections. Two sons of Taboo were killed by Su Xianren one after another. Be asterisk starred, I'll kill you, you be asterisk tch. The two sons of Chaos roared like thunder. Seeing Zixia Fairy dragging a corpse and throwing it to the ground, they were furious to the extreme. But as soon as they said that, the two sons of Chaos spat out mouthfuls of blood and were almost chopped into pieces. This time, Kong Xian didn't attack. Instead, Vice Principal Goldfeather slapped the two God King bodies of the children of primal chaos, causing them to howl. They wanted to say something, but in the end, they didn't dare to. You're polluting my ears, Zixia Fairy said with a cold face. I originally wanted 3 drops of immortal Tao substance, but now I've changed my mind. Give me 5 drops of immortal Tao substance, and I can take 7th brother away. You. The two sons of Chaos almost spat out blood. She was extorting them? Was she crazy? 5 drops of immortal Tao substance. Every drop of immortal Tao substance was a great loss to the taboo. My time is limited. I'll give you 10 breaths of time to think. Otherwise, I'll hand 7th brother over to Su Yin. Zixia Fairy's beautiful face was calm. She was clearly angry. Kong Xian looked at 7th brother's corpse and rubbed his big bald head. Although 7th brother is dead, it's mainly because his primordial spirit was damaged. The Valley of Chaos should have a part of his primordial spirit lamp. He still has hope of prolonging his life. Isn't Su Yin quite ruthless? Why would he show mercy? Shang Li's face was unfriendly. The two sons of Chaos almost spat out blood. Wasn't it just calling her an old woman? Did she have to go so far? How much more losses did she want the Valley of Chaos to suffer? Su Yin is quite good at doing business. Vice Dean Jin shook his head and said, last time, he extorted a huge sum from the Divine Firmament sect. Now, he's extorting the Valley of Chaos. Are you going to take out the immortal Tao substance to buy his life? The two sons of Chaos faces were ferocious. 7th brother could still be saved. It wouldn't be so bad. They were certain that they had lost to Su Yin because of their physical body and not their peak combat strength. There was still hope for them to turn the tables. Time's up. Fairy Zixia was serious as she picked up the 7 sons and walked towards the trial space. Some experts were speechless. If seventh brother was handed over to Su Yin, his fate would definitely be extremely miserable. Wait, fourth brother suddenly stood up and roared. We can pay the immortal Tao substance, but 5 drops is impossible. We can only take out 2 drops. If there are more, let Su Yin go to the Valley of Chaos to ask for it. The surroundings were in an uproar. 2 drops of immortal Tao substance were taken out just like that. Zixia Fairy was silent for a moment before throwing seventh brother's body to them. The 2 sons of Chaos heaved a sigh of relief. They had wanted to take seventh brother's body and leave the Chaos Tower. However, when they saw the dangerous looks in the 3 heads' eyes, they braced themselves and handed over 2 drops of immortal Tao substance. This was their life-saving treasure. They only had 2 drops, and they couldn't take out more. Vice Dean Jin Yu handed the 2 drops of immortal Tao substance to Zixia Fairy. At the same time, he shouted to the people nearby, "Everyone, in this battle, Shi Xiu broke the rules, and the Tao Temple will punish him severely. These 2 drops of immortal Tao substance, shouldn't the Tao Temple also contribute a little? Take it as compensation for Su Yin. Anyway, the Tao Temple will not do anything that breaks the rules. Also, the Chaos Tower's test has begun. The Tao Temple's gates are open, and we are recruiting disciples." Everyone cheered. The Tao Temple had done a good job. They didn't bow to the Valley of Chaos. The 2 sons of Chaos also left dejectedly, not daring to say anything. Some people sighed. Su Xianrun, a peerless overlord, invincible under the heavens. Who can compete with him? The whole place was in an uproar. Third brother's crushing defeat had made Su Yin supreme. This great victory had also made Su Yan's reputation rise to another level. When the news spread, all races were in an uproar. At this moment, Su Yin really was like the sun at noon in the Chaos Tower. Some people even speculated that a mysterious head of the Tao Temple was deliberately protecting Su Yin. This caused a huge uproar. Chapter 1134. 3 drops of immortal Tao substance. In the trial space, Su Yin looked at Fairy Zixia in astonishment. The corpses of the 7 sons were exchanged for 3 drops of immortal Tao substance. This was too valuable. That's right. Fairy Zixia threw out 2 silver bottles and then took out a purple bottle. She smiled at Su Yin and said, "The Hall of Hell is very dangerous. Without these substances, you won't be able to last long. 3 drops of immortal Tao substance should be enough to give you some capital to survive. Of course, it's hard to say whether you'll be able to use it or not." Su Yin put away the 3 jade bottles. He looked at her strangely and asked, "You're giving it to me just like that? Don't tell me you didn't embezzle anything?" Hearing this, Fairy Zixia's pretty face stiffened. Black lines appeared on her snow-white forehead. She was so angry that she almost fainted. Embezzlement? Would I embezzle anything? Am I that unbearable? I was wrong. Seeing that Fairy Zixia was about to go berserk, Su Yin hurriedly said, "His injuries were so serious that he couldn't afford to be riled up. At least you know what's good for you." Fairy Zixia snorted. "I still have things to do. I won't lower myself to your level. I'll leave first." "Oh right, don't be unable to even enter the Hall of Hell when the time comes." Su Yin shrugged helplessly. "Am I that unbearable?" Looking at Fairy Zixia's departing figure, Su Yin calmed down. He breathed out the energy in the trial space and slowly healed his injuries. 3 days passed. Su Yin's injuries were healed. His body was steaming with a vast amount of life essence, rolling and rippling. His figure was extremely blazing, like a blazing sun. I wonder if swallowing the 9 heavenly flames will be able to restore part of my constitution. Su Yin took a deep breath. He swung his sleeves and took out the 9 great heaven flames. Each of them was the king of flames. There were a total of 9 great flames with different forms. They could easily burn down the void. Su Yin is going to devour the 9 heavenly flames. This scene alarmed some nearby cultivators, and all of them were speechless. Such a rare resource was easily obtained by Su Yin just like that. Even a peak clan would need to spend a long time to gather 9 types of heavenly flames. This also showed how terrifying the Valley of Chaos was. Just how powerful was the legendary Son of Chaos. Su Yin was looking forward to meeting him one day. Swallow. Su Yin abruptly opened his mouth, and the sound of mountains and seas resonated from his chest. His method was too crude. Swallowing 9 heavenly flames in one go was like swallowing 9 suns, causing Su Yan's body to shine to the extreme. Buzz. In a short period of time, Su Yan's body burned with 9 layers of flames. He felt as if his body was being burned to ashes. The 9 great heavenly flames were like scorching suns. It was burning in Su Yan's stomach. Buzz. Su Yan's figure was like a burning divine furnace. With the 9 great heavenly flames as the furnace's flames, his entire body emitted a dazzling divine light, illuminating the entire trial space. The hearts of the deities trembled. This was too crude, directly swallowing the 9 great heavenly flames. Was this fellow not afraid of being burned to death? The 7th Son of Chaos must have spent a long time slowly subduing the 9 great heavenly flames. But Su Yin was completely using them as nourishment. It had to be said that his method was far too tyrannical. Swallow refine. Su Yin roared in his heart. Withstanding the 9 great heavenly flames' scorching heat, he directly revolved the body preservation technique. Su Yin wanted to use the body preservation technique to swallow the essence of the 9 great heavenly flames. Once the 2nd level of the body preservation technique was activated, he was truly like a plunderer, plundering the good fortune of the world. Buzz. The vast space of the Tao platform dimmed for a time. The massive amount of divine might was cleanly swallowed up by him. In particular, the flames burning on Su Yan's body became more and more intense. With the body preservation technique, Su Yan's body automatically absorbed the 9 great heavenly flames. But the process was dangerous. The heavenly flame's temperature was abnormal and could easily burn a heavenly god to death. But Su Yin was fearless. His powerful physique glowed like a burning furnace. In the process of swallowing the 9 great heavenly flames, Su Yan's body surged with a desire to be resurrected. Without a doubt, the 9 great heavenly flames were extremely valuable. Even with Su Yan's physique, they were astonishingly attractive. He withstood the flames, swallowing the essence of the heavenly flames day and night. The process was slow, painful, and joyful. Suddenly, 9 days and 9 nights passed. Su Yan's body was still burning with flames, causing the hearts of some onlookers to tremble. What was Su Xianren doing? He didn't seem to be subduing the heavenly flames, but rather using them to temper his body. When half a month had passed, a loud explosion rang out, shaking the entire trial space. Some of the cultivators who were researching the trial space's inheritance were roused awake. They saw an unimaginable scene. Su Yin seemed to have disappeared, but in the area he was in, an enormous figure faintly appeared. This figure was like a supreme being that had been awakened from a deep slumber. Unimaginable energy fluctuations were released, causing the enormous Tao platform to rumble. The space seemed to rise and fall like waves. Why do I feel like a supreme being is awakening? Could it be that Su Xianren has a supreme being body? That's impossible, right? With Su Xianren's potential, if he really did have a supreme being body, he would have cultivated it a long time ago. Why did he only awaken now? Many people discussed. They were endlessly shocked because Su Yan's aura became stronger and stronger. Finally, a terrifying fluctuation erupted from his indistinct body, making the world lose color. Everything was suppressed. A slumbering supreme being was awakening. It was filled with a type of rich fluctuations of time, as if it was a creature that had been slumbering for 100 million years. A type of pressure that originated from the long river of time emerged. Su Yin absorbed all of the energy of the 9 heavenly flames. This caused a storm of divine energy to spread out from the depths of his body. It contained a terrifying supreme heavenly might that suppressed the entire trial space. Su Yin shouldn't be an old monster, right? Why are there ancient fluctuations of time in his body? I can't be wrong. Could he be a proud son of heaven from the burial realm that was sealed for 10,000 years? Don't speak nonsense. Be careful that the vicious person comes out of seclusion to teach you a lesson. The deities present trembled. They could sense the extremely rich fluctuations of time from Su Yan's body. It was unimaginably ancient, as if it came from prehistoric times, from thousands of years ago, from a time and space that was difficult to trace back to. Just the boundless space-time pressure in the depths of his body was enough to make them tremble. They found it hard to believe. Just what had Su Yan experienced? How could he release such an ancient light of time? Could it be that he didn't belong to this time and space, and was a sealed proud son of heaven from the burial realm? From the depths of Su Yan's body, the rich light of time rippled out. For a time, Su Yan fell into the flow of time. He couldn't struggle free, as if he was lost within, unable to free himself. It was as if he had fallen into the flow of time, into an abyss. This left Su Yan a little alarmed. He felt as if he was lost in some special area, unable to break out. He ran with all his might, acting as if this was a familiar yet strange road. He didn't know how long he had run or how far he had traveled. On the final day, he caught a familiar fluctuation. It was as if he had returned to his home, the land of his origin, the land of his awakening, the birthplace of his life. He struggled to open his eyes, wanting to see everything clearly. But what entered his eyes was endless darkness and endless chaos. He couldn't see anything clearly, as if the entire universe was still in a state of chaos, as if the heavens and earth hadn't been split apart. "I want to leave," he shouted. He didn't want to be trapped like this. He felt that a long time had passed, so long that Su Yan had forgotten everything, forgotten his origins. He struggled with all his might, feeling as if his body was filled with endless power, enough to break through the darkness. During this process, Su Yan even caught a glimpse of extremely vast essence energy. It was boundless and indescribably magnificent. If Su Yan were to describe it, he would say that it was comparable to the Han family's sea of life. It was 1,000,000,000,000,000,000 trillion times grander. It was hard to imagine what realm he had arrived in, and what kind of space-time he had appeared in. He felt as if he was bathing in an immeasurable source, experiencing endless years. He felt as if he had passed through 100,000,000 years of time. This left Su Yan alarmed. Just what had happened? "I want to leave," he roared. It was as if he had absorbed enough energy to release the most terrifying energy, shattering the darkness. Boom! It was as if the heavens were opened in the primal chaos, recreating the world and creating a new universe. It allowed Su Yan to see the light again, but the scene wasn't so beautiful. It was like another life, a memory that didn't belong to him. It was strange yet familiar. Blood, there was blood everywhere. Su Yan felt as if he had seen the dusk of the saints, the end of the bloody era. The world was dark red, a world filled with blood and chaos. It was difficult to describe with words. It was as if a blood-stained history was pressing down on his heart. Su Yan also saw tall figures standing in all directions, looking down on him. Their figures were indistinct. To be precise, the entire world was extremely blurry and mysterious to Su Yan. It was full of pressure, making it difficult for him to breathe. It was difficult for him to see everything clearly and distinguish what realm he was in. In this mysterious world, dense blood light bloomed. It could be said that the world was in chaos. The spiritual will emitted by every living being was enough to destroy his soul and extinguish his life. Su Yan felt terrified. It was as if he was a mortal facing a group of taboos. However, the taboo's killing intent wanted to pierce through this mortal. This was a kind of indescribable despair that could only be described with fear. Just what had happened in this blurry world. A long time had passed, but it also seemed like only an instant. Kill. He could vaguely hear shouts of killing. It pierced through the blood-colored world and destroyed the doomsday era. That was a figure. He followed a path and killed his way here. His roar shook the 9 heavens and 10 earths. He bathed in immortal blood and fought until the entire chaotic world collapsed. It was as if he had created a blood-stained history to suppress the entire chaotic world. Who is saving me? Su Yin was absent-minded. His vision was a bit dark. Because the battle was too intense and difficult to see, he began to faint. However, he couldn't forget that figure. Above his head was a precious cauldron that turned into a heaven-splitting great axe. He carried the great axe, terrifying beyond compare. Boom! The great axe crossed the sky. He forcibly cleaved the blood-colored world into two. It was as if he had torn open a crack that was unimaginably deep. It was as if time and space were in chaos, as if it could run through thousands of years. Chapter 1135. In the trial space, many onlookers were dumbfounded, because Su Yin had suddenly fainted. Was he sleeping? The group of people were dumbfounded. What was going on? Su Yin had been in seclusion for a month, and finally, his body released a rich light of time. The gods thought that Su Yin was comprehending the Tao, but now he had fallen into a deep sleep. Wasn't this too sudden? However, even if Su Yin was asleep, the experts didn't dare to approach. They only observed from afar. After 10 days and 10 nights, Su Yin opened his eyes. He was a little confused and had a headache. He looked tired. After sleeping for so long, although he had recovered the exhaustion of his spirit, it was still difficult to rouse himself. What's wrong with me? Su Yin frowned. He was silent like a statue. After a long time, he slowly came back to his senses. Then, he sank into deep thought, as if he was looking back at his life and remembering all his experiences. Just now, he felt that he had forgotten the past and who he was. What happened just now? Su Yin took a deep breath. His heart was full of fear. What was it that affected him so much? He almost couldn't return to his will. Then, he pulled himself together. His sharp eyes scanned the surroundings. He saw some nearby cultivators looking at him with strange eyes. Su Yin walked over and directly asked what had happened just now. He even asked how much time had passed. These cultivators were also stuttering. They didn't expect Su Yin to suddenly ask them questions. They organized their words and tried to calm themselves down. They told him everything that had happened just now. I was silent for a month and slept for 10 days. Su Yin sucked in a breath of cold air. He maintained his calm and returned to his original place. He sat cross-legged with a somewhat absent-minded expression. A month had passed just now, and he had even slept for 10 days and 10 nights. He found it hard to believe. It was just a momentary memory. How could so much time have passed? Su Yin checked his physique and found that his physique had become stronger. His physical body had also become much stronger. My strength has increased by a lot. Su Yin's body was shining, and his appearance was solemn. Powerful energy flowed through his body. But compared to before, the ripples of time had dissipated from his body, and he had become a normal person. Deep inside Su Yin's body, a shocking divine energy was released and spread all over his body, increasing his strength tremendously. He knew that it was because he had devoured the 9 heavenly flames, which had stimulated the opening of the treasures in his body. This was all thanks to the body nurturing technique. It was the body nurturing technique passed down to Su Yin by his prehistoric big brother that allowed his physique to recover to such an extent. Just now I saw something strange. Is it because my constitution has recovered and I've awakened some ancient memories? There are also some special reasons that affect me. Su Yin mumbled to himself. His heart was filled with astonishment. Just what had he experienced? It was hard for him to forget that figure. It was supreme and unmatched, like a heavenly emperor. It was too terrifying and inconceivable. He felt that that person had once protected him. This caused Su Yin to be shocked. If his memories were really his own memories, then when exactly did this period of time occur? This is too strange. Su Yin found it hard to calm down, but his eyes were burning. He said solemnly, I have to go to the Earth Palace. My constitution might be able to reach the perfect level there and recover to its strongest state. He tried to calm down. It was useless to think too much. He had already wasted a month. He couldn't continue like this. Just like that, Su Yin began to slowly immerse himself in the path and laws presented by the platform in silence. Su Yin had already seen part of it during the bloody battle with the three scions of chaos. Now that he had perfected it and comprehended it, he was confident that he could obtain all the legacies on the platform in a short time. Time passed slowly, just like that. 2 months had passed since the Chaos Tower was opened. 2 months had passed. In these 2 months, too many cultivators had been eliminated. It was simply impossible to keep track of them. The elders of the Tao Temple estimated that there should be more than 1 million creatures cultivating in the trial spaces. The legacies of the Chaos Tower were complex and ever-changing. It was extremely difficult to comprehend them in a short period of time. Moreover, the legacies within had almost nothing to do with the current cultivation environment. Therefore, the Chaos Tower had become the land of hope for the various races. This was because the legacies within were all related to prehistory. Once the universe's environment changed and the immortal graveyard opened, the legacies within would be extremely important to them. It could also be said that after a long time, all living beings in this era would benefit from the Chaos Tower. Although there had been geniuses in the past who had obtained important legacies within, due to the suppression of the universe's environment, they had been unable to display their strongest state. But this life was different. In the past, there had been many proud sons of heaven that had opened up several inheritance spaces within the primal chaos pagoda and obtained important prehistoric inheritances. Even in an incomplete universe environment, they could still walk far on the road of cultivation. Has there been some movement in the immortal graveyard these days? News came and caused quite a stir. Some old experts went to investigate the immortal graveyard. Although it was still in a sealed state, the experts found that the seal had begun to loosen. But the process was slow. But even so, some old sect masters said that the immortal graveyard would open in a few years. Even if it was slow, it wouldn't exceed 10 years. Doesn't that mean that the golden age will open in 10 years at the latest? There are rumors that once the immortal graveyard opens, the lives of geniuses from various races will be as cheap as paper. Is this true or false? In the past, when Jiu Yi and Su Yin fought, Jiu Yi revealed his strongest state. But in the end, he was suppressed by the universe's heavenly punishment. It's a pity that we haven't seen the strength of this domain. It's hard to determine just how strong they are. Although the three scions of chaos lost miserably to Su Yin, they lost their attainments in the mortal body domain. If they were unsealed, perhaps they would be very strong. Not necessarily. The immortal graveyard is the universe's #1 mystic realm. There are a great number of prehistoric orthodoxies and legacies within. Even if it is, as some people say, and the lives of geniuses are as cheap as paper, there will still be a group of people who will rapidly rise. That's natural. Do you all really think that the future Su Xianren will be weaker than those people? Some people were speechless. When the primal chaos pagoda opened, Su Xianren fought the two scions of chaos in a bloody battle, forcibly knocking them out of the trial space. Later on, the 7 scions charged in, but in the end, their primordial spirits were destroyed by Su Yin. Although the 7 scions might not necessarily perish, the Valley of Chaos reputation had been greatly damaged. It's too early to talk about these things. Once the immortal graveyard opens, Qiu Ming's group will temporarily climb to the supreme realm. At that time, it will be the end of the geniuses. Some people sighed. This topic was a bit heavy. If this group of people really stepped into the supreme realm, would the other geniuses still have any hope of rising up? If they really could dominate the immortal graveyard, that would be equal to obtaining a supreme foundation. In the future, they would be strong forever. Ever since the last time darkness covered the sun, the universe was in turmoil, and a bloody calamity was born. The various races no longer cared about the present. What they truly cared about now was the changes in the future. If one day, darkness engulfed them once again, what would the universe become? No one could answer them. The peak orthodoxies were all silent. This was a source that was enough to make people panic. No one knew when it would erupt. Once it shook again, would they be able to stop the dark calamity? Sigh, the sky is changing. I wonder what the future will be like. I'm getting sentimental. Am I getting old? Yes, I'm getting old. The future will be the world of the young. Xiao Ming is about to become a supreme expert, and the others aren't far off either. When the time comes, we'll have to retreat behind the scenes. Even the sons of my race, the Divine King, are very close. Some of the old sect masters sighed. They really hoped that the younger generation could quickly rise up and a group of experts would walk out from the universe. In the future, they might be able to figure out the reason for the darkness covering the sun. Time flew by, and another month passed, from a moment the primal chaos pagoda opened until now. After going through 3 stages of elimination, those who could still hold on were not weak. The pressure in the trial space, where Su Yin was also suddenly increased sharply, affecting every living being. Buzz. This Grand Tao platform was vaguely coming to life. It was like a sleeping giant that was slowly awakening. Finally, on this day, it released a terrifying pressure that filled the entire Tao platform space. Large numbers of living beings could not hold on and were beaten out, losing the qualifications to continue the trial. Many who were stable held on bitterly, but at the same time, some fell into silence. This was because they were attracted by the Tao platform's inheritance. Perhaps they would have the opportunity to enter the second trial space. Every month, the Tao and magic emitted by the Tao platform would become thicker. This was completely from the shallow to the deep, one step at a time, thoroughly comprehending the Tao and magic described by the Tao platform. Su Yan's figure glowed. Suddenly, he transformed and became somewhat majestic. He was like a giant ancient mountain sitting there cross-legged. His entire body flowed out, and the vast energy field burned like a cosmic furnace. Some cultivators were unwilling to get close to Su Yan. There was no one within 10,000 li of him. This was because the pressure from his surging energy field was extremely heavy. This seems to be a type of domain. Su Yan's eyes blossomed with a divine radiance. He had seen through an important step. This Tao platform seemed to be describing the structure of a domain. Moreover, this type of domain was related to the mortal body. Su Yan's gaze suddenly turned towards the Tao platform. He discovered that the Tao platform had become even more majestic. It suddenly became boundless and vast, as if it covered the entire space and time. At first, Su Yan seemed even smaller, but his body began to glow, and all the energy in his body began to resonate. Bang! Within the Tao platform world, there was a loud explosion. Su Yan fiercely rose up from the ground. His essence, energy, and spirit pierced through the heavens. He was like an ancient giant that stepped onto the Tao platform. His body soared with endless light, accompanied by all sorts of vague supreme heavenly might. Domain. So this is the gateway to a domain. Su Yan whispered. He saw through the Tao platform's true appearance. It was very small, like a millstone, but it was so majestic that it could bear the weight of millions of lives. This was just like Su Yan's previous comprehension. His body was like a seed that transformed into a great tree. But when he returned to his true self, he was still a seed, yet he had condensed a terrifying strength. This was the strength that would lead him to the Divine King in the future. Heavens! The cultivators within the trial space were all horrified. This was because a grand door had appeared within the trial space. It was like a bronze giant that was filled with a supreme heavenly might, overlooking all life in the universe. The expressions of the experts gathered in the outside world also changed. This was because they saw a new trial space appear. It was brilliant and shocking, suppressing the Divine King to the point of suffocation. Someone said in horror, "How is this possible? It's only been 3 months. Who has comprehended the first trial and opened the second trial space?" Some old sect masters were endlessly amazed. Time had passed too quickly. Only 3 months had passed, and someone had already defied the heavens and opened the second trial space. Just how high was this person's perception? Who is it? Could it be the Tsang Tian physique? Many people were shocked. The Tsang Tian physique of the sky bamboo lineage has merged with a heavenly Tao stone. He can be considered a carrier of the heavenly Tao. Moreover, the heavenly Tao stone is a Tao comprehension immortal treasure. Song Tian's perception must be extraordinary. Could it be that he opened the second trial space? Extremely likely. A few experts from the great sects nodded. After all, the heavenly Tao stone was a Tao comprehension immortal treasure. Since Song Tian had been refined by the Tao comprehension stone's energy, he naturally possessed powerful perception. Chapter 1136. Someone has already opened the second trial space. It's only been 3 months. This person's comprehension must be extraordinary. The Tao Temple elders were pleasantly surprised. Someone stepped out and laughed. I wonder which clan this Ingjie is from? I suggest that you don't enter the second trial space right now, because the Tao within the second trial space is extremely profound. It can easily take years or even decades to comprehend. Moreover, the failure rate is extremely high. However, our Tao Palace is different. We have collected the precious experiences of many past Primal Chaos Tower challengers. If you become a disciple of our Tao Palace, you can obtain all of these inheritances. The inheritance space will even be maintained for 10 years, so don't be in a hurry to enter. The various conditions promised by the Tao Temple experts made the faces of the experts from the various sects turn green. They hadn't even seen the person, and the Tao Temple had already stepped out to entice this genius to join them. Who didn't know that the Tao Temple's recruitment of disciples was based on their progress in the Chaos Tower? The more outstanding one's performance in the Chaos Tower, the more resources the Tao Temple would provide. Some people would even have the opportunity to enter the Tao Temple's 3 vice deans to cultivate. Although the Tao Temple would also recruit some geniuses before this, they all knew that the Tao Temple valued the progress of the Chaos Tower the most. They would favor these geniuses. There were also some experts from the great sects who spoke up and promised some generous conditions. It seemed that they wanted to snatch this person from the Tao Temple. But they waited for a long time and didn't see anyone step out to challenge the trial space. This caused them to be astonished. What was going on? Su Yin, your trial space is opened. Aren't you going to go? Someone couldn't help but speak up in the trial space. They knew that it was Su Yin who had opened the second trial space and were extremely envious. However, Su Yin remained silent and didn't move. The experts were astonished. Didn't he want to go? Didn't he know what this trial space meant? Yes, Su Yin, don't underestimate the trial space. It's one trial after another that leads straight to the domain of Almighties. It's the same as the Chaos Tower, nurturing you into an Almighty. Someone was speechless and astonished. They felt that Su Yin might have a chance of coming into contact with the ultimate trial. This is not what I want. Su Yin seriously thought about it. He faintly grasped onto the Tao laws of the second level of the Chaos Pagoda. To be more accurate, it was an upgraded version of the Tao laws of his trial space. But this wasn't what Su Yin wanted. Although he could feel that the value of the second trial space was great, and if he could cultivate the mortal body through this inheritance, he would definitely have great harvests. But this really wasn't what Su Yin wanted. Everyone was dumbfounded. Some of them wanted to say, "Aren't you being too arrogant? If the path of a powerful being is not what you want, then what is the path you want?" In the Chaos Pagoda, there were tens of thousands of paths that could lead one to the ranks of mighty figures. But this was very difficult. Every path was extremely difficult to pass through, and in the past, there were very few who could use the Chaos Pagoda's inheritance to step into the realm of mighty figures. My path should appear, right? Su Yan's pupils blazed. His aura changed. In that instant, he broke free from the suppression of the trial space, causing him to return to his original state. Like a bolt of lightning, he soared to the peak state. In fact, Su Yan's suppressed Great Tao Source was also released. For a time, Su Yan became extremely radiant. He transformed the heavens and earth. With chaos as the foundation and all life as the source, he became a mighty god of the heavens and earth. Bang! Su Yan reared his head back and roared into the heavens. His body released 10,000 layers of divine light, creating a blurry domain world. It was like a supreme being was being born. The cultivators within the trial space were forced to prostrate themselves. all of them bowing down in worship. This was Su Yan's greatest combat strength. The source of all energy gushed out from his mortal body. As the initial sutra revolved, the heavens shook and the earth shook. The entire trial space seemed as if it would collapse at any moment. Beneath their flabbergasted gazes, the trial space he opened vanished. What replaced it was a blood-red trial space. An endless vicious aura spread out from it, as if the palace of hell had been opened. The aura it emitted was fierce and cruel, as if the source of all evil was imprisoned within. Moreover, it didn't seem like a trial space at all. Instead, it was like a blood-red palace that sat between the heavens and earth. Within the palace, a hazy divine radiance emitted from it. Mysterious blood-red runes appeared, and a bitter aura was released. Like this, it replaced the previous trial space. The road before wasn't what Su Yan wanted. Then, this was what he truly desired. What sort of trial space is this? Why is the aura so bitter and bitter? It makes my heart race. The powerhouses outside cried out in alarm. As they saw the mysterious blood-red palace, goosebumps rose up all over their bodies. Hell Palace. However, a powerhouse roared. This is the Hell Palace. According to the ancient records, the primal Chaos Pagoda's strongest smelting ground is the legendary Hell Palace. But how could the Hell Palace appear here? Who touched upon the strongest smelting ground so early? The origin of Hell Palace's name was unknown. After a long period of time, apart from a single person from the Tao Church who came out alive from Hell Palace, everyone else had died inside. Over time, it was called the Chaos Tower's Hell Palace. It had once buried supreme bodies and the successors of peak orthodoxies. It was even rumored that even the child of Taboo had died inside. Of course, everyone knew that only those with heaven-defying talent could attract Hell Palace to appear. However, its appearance also represented death. Now, less than 3 months after the Chaos Tower opened, Hell Palace had actually appeared. They couldn't help but tremble. Who was it? And now, Hell Palace had appeared. Who would have thought that Hell Palace would appear? Who is so heaven-defying? It can't be that guy, right? Vice Dean Jean was stunned. Previously, the Tao Church's doyen had sent a message back, telling him that someone had opened the second trial space. As the Tao Church's Vice Dean Jean, you naturally attached great importance to it. He had personally rushed over to welcome this prodigy into the Tao Church. However, Vice Dean Jean had never imagined that the second trial space would disappear and be replaced by Hell Palace. It represented death and bloodshed. It was a blood-colored palace that was blurry but filled with blood-colored beams of light that would make even mighty figures tremble. It really came out. Su Yan's eyes looked toward Hell Palace. Even someone as strong as him felt suffocated and wanted to retreat. However, Su Yan quickly calmed down. This was the place of hope for his constitution to evolve. As long as he could walk out of Hell Palace alive, he could restore his constitution. At the same time, there was a great opportunity here. He felt that Fairy Zisha's words about someone from the Tao Church coming out alive and even stepping into the forbidden area were most likely not misleading. It was very likely that it was true. Even someone like the old leader had said that he had missed a great opportunity. He had also relied on what he had previously obtained to quickly climb to the peak of the mighty figure realm. One could only imagine how great the opportunity was in Hell Palace. Su Yan is going to Hell Palace. These cultivators felt their hair stand on end. They saw with their own eyes that Su Yan had stepped out of the trial space step by step and was even walking toward Hell Palace. Ruthless is ruthless. He didn't hesitate and went straight over. Doesn't he know what Hell Palace is? Over the years, only one person has survived. Then the second lucky person must be. Does he think it's him? I think Su Yan most likely doesn't know the origins of Hell Palace. Unfortunately, it's too late to tell him now. He's already gone over. They all gasped, their faces pale with fright. If Su Yan failed and died in Hell Palace, it would cause a huge commotion. In particular, the people outside were also trembling. They saw an extremely familiar person walking toward Hell Palace. Wasn't that Su Yan? He spent 3 months to open Hell Palace. and he even wants to barge into Hell Palace. A few old sect masters gasped. This was too crazy. He even dared to barge into Hell Palace. Su Yin wants to barge into Hell Palace? Is he crazy? This place completely exploded. A few important figures felt their hair stand on end. It was as if they had seen Su Yin barge into a land of death. Vice Dean Jin Yu blew his beard and glared. He instantly transmitted his voice. Su Yin, this is Hell Palace. You can't barge in. Hurry up and return. Otherwise, there will be a great disaster. Su Yin acted as if he didn't hear anything. He walked step by step into Hell Palace. During this process, he endured the powerful pressure of Hell Palace. However, Su Yin was unafraid. His aura became more and more valiant. In the end, he turned into a terrifying god of war. He charged toward Hell Palace step by step. Su Yin, Vice Dean Jin Yu was stunned. He transmitted his voice and growled, I'm the Vice Dean of Dao Palace. If you don't want to die, hurry up and return. Otherwise, you'll have no hope of turning back after barging into Hell Palace. Countless years have passed. Who can come out alive? Thank you for your kind intentions, Senior. This junior has made up his mind. Su Yin didn't even look back. He continued walking toward Hell Palace. He was already very close to the door. Vice Dean Jin Yu clenched his teeth. Su Yin had long since known, but he still wanted to barge into Hell Palace. What a pity. Vice Dean Jin Yu smiled bitterly. With Su Yan's potential and the extraordinary perception he had displayed, it was enough to represent his future achievements. Even though he had offended the Chaotic Valley, Vice Dean Jin Yu still wanted to bring Su Yin into the Dao Palace. But now this generation's genius had actually barged into a land of death. How could Vice Dean Jin Yu not feel pity? He's crazy. He's really crazy. Isn't he just digging his own grave? Some Divine King experts were terrified. The expressions of the mighty figures in the distance all changed. Su Yin was truly crazy. He even dared to barge into Hell Palace. Once he fell into despair, he would most likely find out what Hell Palace represented. In ancient times, it was said that even the children of Taboo had barged into Hell Palace. Even the inheritors of the mighty figures had done so. But who could come out alive? No one at all. Now that Su Yin had entered, they were all dumbfounded. Ha ha ha. Some people burst into laughter. They almost hysterically roared. Su Yin, oh Su Yin, you're really crazy. If you don't die, even the heavens won't tolerate it. You even dared to barge into Hell Palace. Do you think you're Taboo? Even the children of Taboo don't dare to enter Hell Palace, but he dares? This isn't bravery. This is ignorance. There were also Ancestral Hall experts who sneered. Su Yin, we'll be waiting outside for your death. No, it should be 100 years, 1,000 years, or the next epoch. Someone looked back at the history of the previous epoch and said that an almost invincible expert who hadn't even touched the almighty domain was so arrogant that he died in the Hell Palace. Su Yin, you're destined to leave your name in the annals of time. The whole place was abuzz with discussion. There were many experts entrenched here. Great figures from all the sects were entrenched here, quietly waiting for their disciples to perform. But now, they had seen Su Xianren's crazy actions. He had really barged into Hell Palace, and his figure quickly disappeared through its gates. Many people had complicated emotions. Could it be that a peerless overlord had fallen, just like that? It wasn't worth it. Go on your way in peace. I'll burn more paper for you on the road to the Yellow Springs. Many of Su Yan's enemies mocked and ridiculed him. It was as if they were looking at a dead man. They felt that a piece of their heart had been removed. They feared that in the future, Su Yan's name would gradually disappear from this world. Chapter 1137. This is the Hell Hall. Su Yan stepped into the legendary Hell Hall. He had just arrived, but it was not as dangerous as he had imagined. The interior of the blood-colored Hell Hall was a huge tunnel. It was unknown where it led. Su Yan stood in the tunnel and stared into its depths. It was as if he was staring into a blood-colored abyss. There was a sinister feeling that could devour his spirit. Since I'm here, I might as well take things as they come. Since I've already chosen my path, I can't regret it. Su Yan tilted his head slightly and looked behind him. He could no longer see the exit door. Once he entered the Hell Hall, He could no longer leave. Where was the path? He had to explore it himself. He followed the blood-colored tunnel and walked into its depths. The quiet tunnel seemed to have been silent for millions of years. There was a deathly stillness everywhere, stifling to the point of suffocation. Su Yin walked forward step by step, but the blood-colored tunnel was too long. It was so deep that it seemed difficult to reach the end. He did not know how long he had walked, but Su Yin suddenly felt exhausted. He stiffened, cold sweat breaking out on his back. How powerful was he? Even if he walked for decades, he would not feel tired. But now, Su Yin felt fatigued, as if he had suddenly become weak. His breathing became heavy. How long have I been walking? Su Yin muttered. Suddenly, he was reminiscing and thinking about the past. However, Su Yin felt that he had forgotten. It was as if he had just arrived at the Hell Hall and entered the blood-colored tunnel. Wong! His eyes instantly lit up, burning in the golden tunnel. Lightning shot out as he opened and closed them, piercing through the void as he tried to see the end. However, no matter how strong his eye of the universe was, this tunnel was endless. It was as if it ran through the entire world. It was also like a reincarnation tunnel. He was still walking in the same spot. If I can't get out, I might die of old age. Su Yin suddenly had this thought. This tunnel was truly endless. There were extremely terrifying laws and orders that trapped Su Yin, blinding his senses and disrupting his investigation. Su Yin's breathing was heavy. This was the Hell's Hall. He had not even stepped through the door, but he had to face the fear of death. Su Yin wanted to leave. If he walked around again, he might be able to find some clues. However, Su Yin hesitated. His body was exhausted and his strength was weak. He felt that before he could return to his original path, he might have already withered to death in the bloody tunnel. He sat down cross-legged and carefully comprehended. Perhaps he could break through the unique rules of the bloody tunnel. Time passed quietly, day after day. Su Yin could barely sense the passage of time. He didn't know how much time had passed, but his exhaustion was getting worse. On this day, he felt weak, as if he were about to reach the end of his life. Since there is no path, Su Yan's confused eyes suddenly widened in anger. He felt that he was about to be trapped to death. If he couldn't find a solution, then he wouldn't be able to get out of here for the rest of his life. Then let's fight our way out. Su Yan's entire aura leaked out, erupting with a terrifying aura. Although he was in decline, his battle strength was still there. Su Yin released his strongest strength in this desperate situation, erupting in the bloody tunnel. Open for me. His aura was like an avalanche. In an instant, he punched out, smashing heavily on the bloody tunnel. He wanted to force his way out. Boom! This punch caused the tunnel to rumble violently. His strength was extremely barbaric and domineering. Punch after punch, the blood-colored tunnel shook violently. After a dozen punches, a large crack finally appeared in the bloody tunnel. Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. When he crawled out of the bloody tunnel through the crack, the scene in front of him stunned him. Once again, he arrived at a tunnel. This time, it was a blood-red tunnel. Are you kidding me? Su Yan's face was bitter. What was the Hell's Hall's test? Why didn't the old leader and Fairy Zixia tell him about the test? He looked around with a confused expression. Soon, he realized that something was wrong. There was a fork in the bloody tunnel ahead, the road of life and death. Su Yan's heart shivered. The two forks were covered by the energy light curtain, but there were ancient and simple characters of the great Tao engraved in them. Su Yin could tell that these were the two paths of life and death. He was stunned. A long time passed. Su Yan's back was drenched in a cold sweat. Then, how should he choose? Could it be that the old leader didn't tell me about the test because these two roads might lead to different trials? That should be the case. The Hell's Hall's test should be different. Perhaps besides these two roads, there are other roads to choose from. Su Yin thought to himself. He felt that this was very likely. Two roads should lead to two different trials. How to choose would depend on Su Yin. But even an idiot would know that he would choose the road of life. Then, why was there a road of death here? Life and death. Everyone knows to choose the road of life. But this road of death? Su Yan's pupils shrank. The road of death seemed different. The curtain of energy emitted a faint, fatal pressure, causing Su Yan's expression to turn solemn. The curtain of energy that covered the road of death had a familiar scent to it. This is profound yellow fluctuations. Su Yan was shocked. He carefully observed it and finally confirmed that this substance was the legendary profound yellow qi. However, this profound yellow qi did not have any energy substance. It was just an empty shell. But even so, this profound yellow qi was filled with a terrifying pressure. It could easily crush powerhouses. As for the road of life, it was filled with a great Tao concept. Two roads, two completely different choices, two completely different good fortune. The road of death, facing death and fighting to live. Hell Palace, how can there be a road of life? Since I'm here, I naturally have to accept the strongest test. Su Yan's eyes suddenly widened as he roared. Darkness is coming. The universe is about to change, and a calamity is coming. Then I will fight to the death. If I can obtain the heaven and earth qi and completely restore my physique, it will be enough to give me the qualifications to deal with all changes without change. Then, the road of death, here I come. Boom! Su Yan instantly charged forward. He did not even look back as he charged into the road of death. When he stepped onto this path, Su Yan's ears were filled with a strange sound wave, causing his hair to stand on end. It was like a demonic sound that came from hell. It was also like the sound of hell's gates closing. It was accompanied by a thick aura of death and misery. It enveloped Su Yan, making him feel as if he had fallen into a demon's den. His body felt a faint chill. Even though Su Yan's blood was vigorous, his vitality was about to be extinguished at this moment. Su Yan felt as if he was about to die. This was the consequence of choosing the road of death. He had to endure unpredictable dangers. His body trembled as he endured the endless pressure of the road of death. This is the profound yellow qi. Su Yan saw the scene in the road of death clearly. His face turned pale. The road of death was built with endless profound yellow qi. It also lacked energy and substance, but it was full of a terrifying pressure. Is the source of profound yellow qi at the end of the road of death? Su Yan clenched his fists. His sharp eyes scanned the surroundings. Then, Su Yan charged toward the end of the road of death. However, this road was too difficult. The pressure that came from the road of death was about to crush Su Yan's body. He walked for a while. Blood was flowing out of his pores, dyeing Su Yan's body red. It's really painful. Su Yan gritted his teeth and endured the pain. He had a strong will. After experiencing countless life and death situations, he could still endure this kind of pain. If I can't even pass through the door of the road of death, how can I call myself an expert? Su Yan roared. His fighting spirit was high. Although many young supremes had been buried in the Hall of Hell, there were still two who had come out alive. Su Yan was determined. He would be the third. He would definitely come out alive. He would definitely be able to obtain the great fortune of the Hall of Hell. Charge, Su Yan. Carve out a path that belongs to you. His eyes burned with the flames of war. It was as if he had forgotten the pain. He seemed to have transcended. Su Yan identified a path. He saw through life and death. He threw everything to the back of his mind. The only thing he could do was to charge. Just like that, he walked step by step. He walked for an entire day, bearing the great torment. He took more than 100 steps with great difficulty. On the final day, Su Yan's bones began to shatter. The pain of broken bones was unbearable. Puffed. Su Yan's entire body became shorter. Blood flowed from his mouth and nose. His powerful body trembled violently. He was exhausted to the extreme. However, he was still standing. He walked step by step with great difficulty because he saw the door. He saw the trial field and the road of death. It was a terrifying, bloody abyss. However, none of this could cause any psychological pressure on Su Yan. He was not afraid of death. Finally, he walked into the depths and jumped into the bloody abyss. He entered the cruel trial field of the road of death. It was as if he was standing in a bloody nightmare. It was a grand world. It was simple and desolate. It was magnificent to the extreme. This was a grand world of death. There was no end in sight. The sky was filled with bloody stars. The ground was filled with piles of broken bones. It was as if there were trillions of corpses piled up on the bloody ground. Suyin looked around. He looked at the death zone. Suddenly, his body tensed up as if he had been struck by lightning. After so many years of life and death, Suyan's spiritual senses were sharp. He sensed a great danger. Boom! In an instant, the void exploded. The energy fluctuations attacking him were extremely violent. Oh no, there's a living creature here. Suyan's expression changed drastically. He was severely injured, and his combat power was limited. However, a terrifying heavenly pung with a terrifying aura suddenly fell from the sky. Its ferocious body collapsed the void. Suyin swung his fist to block at lightning speed. However, this heavenly rock with a terrifying aura instantly broke his arm and sent him flying. In the next moment, Suyin let out a cry of pain. Another divine ape with a brutal aura charged over explosively. In an instant, Suyin's body, which was sent flying, trembled violently and was on the verge of exploding. This was an extremely cruel experience. At this moment, Suyin was on the verge of death. Facing the attacks of two ferocious beasts with a severely injured body, Suyin was going to be smashed to pieces. Chapter 1138. A bloody purgatory, malevolent and brutal. Suyin had just barged in and was heavily injured. Now his body was dyed in blood and was about to soak the skies in blood. The environment here was so cold that it was bone-piercing. The atmosphere was brutal. This enormous heavenly pung occupied the peak of the heavens like an archaic, vicious beast with a pure bloodline. In the outside world, it was definitely a vicious beast that could run amok among its peers because its bloodline was too powerful. It was definitely a well-known figure among divine beasts. Chirp, chirp, the heavenly pung cried out. Its eyes were cold as it stared at Su Yin as if it was staring at delicious food. Roar! As for this divine ape, it roared as it swallowed the moon. It fiercely charged out, causing Su Yin's body to spurt out blood. It was on the verge of exploding. It also stared at Su Yin with a cruel gaze as if it was looking at its prey. Boom! The divine ape immediately chased after him. Its terrifying body crushed the void as it appeared in front of Su Yin. It reached out a palm to grab Su Yin, wanting to capture him. However, the heavenly pung occupying the heavens was furious. Its food was about to be snatched away. This heavenly pung rushed over with great speed and spread out its enormous wings. At this moment, it was truly like a king descending into the mortal realm. It was extremely terrifying. Wong! This was a pair of blood-colored pung claws with the power to tear apart a true dragon. It aimed at the divine ape's head and wanted to hit it. Roar! The divine ape roared loudly. Its body was tall and majestic like a giant mountain. Its eyes were filled with a brutal aura. It suddenly rushed over and smashed its fists towards the heavenly pang's claws. The two great creatures fought together. It could be said that ancient kings were fighting a bloody battle here. Their battle fluctuations were extremely violent. Every one of them possessed absolute battle strength, enough to run amok among their peers. At this moment, Su Yin understood that he was temporarily saved and had the time to catch his breath. Su Yin didn't know his own situation, nor did he know what he would encounter next. But right now, he had to survive. He quickly assimilated into the cruel struggles of this world. Su Yin took out a large batch of secret medicines and swallowed them. At that moment, Su Yin understood. No wonder Fairy Xixia had seized the immortal Tao substance for him. It might be of great use. Su Yin might very well die here, and he would need the help of the immortal Tao substance to revive himself. Gulialu, Su Yin swallowed a large batch of secret medicines. These medicines dissolved in his body and became a great tonic. Su Yin was already heavily wounded when he rushed from the tunnel of death to this place. Then, he was attacked by the two great beasts, which worsened his injuries. Now, his broken body was glowing as he drew upon the endless essence of the secret medicine to nourish his damaged body. Su Yin's corporeal body greedily absorbed all of this. With every breath that passed, his injured body healed a little. After all, The value of Su Yan's secret medicines was astonishing, and most of them came from the Han family. Now, these secret medicines were finally put to good use. His ruined body had already begun to heal, and his decaying blood essence was quickly replenishing. Their battle is so astonishing. In the process of healing, Su Yan paid close attention to the battle between the two great creatures. They were completely fighting with their lives on the line. Time seemed to have returned to a distant era, a time when gods contended for hegemony. These two great creatures were rarely seen in the outside world. Now, they were fighting fiercely, and the bloody space was collapsing. Roar! In the end, the divine ape's strength was boundless. It suddenly spread out its huge arms and grabbed the heavenly rock's claw. It was roaring wildly, wanting to tear the heavenly rock apart and monopolize its prey. The heavenly rock let out a mournful cry. Its huge body was collapsing, and it was really about to explode. Mother of Asterisk, too savage. Su Yan sucked in a breath of cold air. They were fighting with their lives on the line, and their killing was too fierce. This kind of fighting style was bloody and tyrannical. What kind of era was this? What kind of environment was this? It made Su Yan feel incredulous. Even someone as strong as him, a fighting machine who had been fighting for his whole life, was shocked. As the heavenly rock's flesh shell was about to explode, the bloody feathers that covered its body fell off uniformly. At this moment, it could be said that 10,000 swords had descended. They were dazzling as they rushed down, riddling the divine ape's body with thousands of holes. Because of the intense pain, it had no choice but to loosen its grip. The heavenly rock survived, but there was a huge crack on its body that was difficult to heal. Roar! The divine ape was also heavily injured. It looked up to the sky and roared with extreme brutality. It still wanted to kill the heavenly rock. However, at this moment, they were all shocked by the vigorous vitality in Su Yan's body. At the same time, they looked at Su Yan, their eyes filled with greed. Su Yan's expression was cold. He was not frightened. His injuries had improved a lot, and he could barely fight. Moreover, their injuries were also extremely serious. Su Yan originally wanted to leave and figure out the layout of this environment, but he gave up. Who knew what they would encounter next? Once they encountered an ancient great evil that was even more ferocious than them, they would really fall into a dangerous land. Boom! In the blink of an eye, the sky Peng swooped down at high speed, bringing with it a terrifying, ferocious aura. Its huge wings were also spread open, like two sharp sword embryos, slashing towards Su Yan's head. At the same time, the divine ape also rushed over, waving its black fist that could shatter the stars in a single exchange. You want to eat me? Come on then. Su Yan's blood-stained hair danced in the wind. He suddenly jumped up from the ground, killing intent surging in his eyes. Su Yan's body glowed as his peak foundation was restored. His figure swept across the ground, sweeping up the skeletons on the ground. In this land of death, he unleashed a shocking attack. Big Dipper Fist. He roared as his fist shone brilliantly like ancient burning stars. He furiously smashed forward, bombarding the two great beings at the same time. Rumble. The blood-colored space trembled violently. The stars in the sky rustled as countless corpses exploded. The energy fluctuations were boundlessly violent. In the purgatory, Su Yan erupted with his strongest combat strength. His fist bombarded the divine ape until its black fist trembled. Its huge body was sent flying by Su Yan's fist. At the same time, Su Yan's other hand rose up. Tens of thousands of streaks of lightning emerged from his palm. He directly used the heavenly lightning and evolved it into the strongest power. His entire palm was like a lightning carrier as it slapped at the heavenly rock's huge wings. Boom! The huge wings and the palm collided, causing the sky to shake. The heavenly rock let out a mournful cry. After all, it was already heavily injured. Countless feathers fell from its huge wings. This slap caused a huge crack to appear on its huge wings. Dense lightning flowed along its wings and engulfed its body. Scram! Su Yin raised the sole of his foot and stomped down on the heavenly rock's huge body. It fell from the sky and smashed a huge hole in the ground. At this moment, the godly ape that had been sent flying rushed over. It was extremely brutal and ferocious. Its huge fists pounded on its chest. It was extremely brave and peerless. When it arrived in front of Su Yin, it stretched out its huge hand and wanted to tear Su Yin apart. Evil creature, take my fist. Su Yan's chi pierced through the sky. His moves were large and powerful as he pressed forward to suppress. Su Yan's every move was accompanied by a powerful vibration. The divine ape was forced to retreat continuously. Its huge body was sprinkled with blood, and its brutal aura was scattered by Su Yin. However, they regarded Su Yin as food. It was as if they had been starving for many years. Even though they were both defeated, they rushed over without hesitation and fought with Su Yin. A great battle broke out in this area. The two pure-blooded archaic creatures fought with Su Yin. The world was filled with blood. The scene was horrifying, making this place seem like a purgatory world. However, Su Yin never imagined that their bloody battle would continue to spread out. Finally, it attracted the attention of a terrifying existence. Moo! Suddenly, Su Yin, who was suppressing the two great archaic creatures and was about to kill them, fiercely trembled. Blood gushed out from his mouth and nose, and his organs felt like they were about to rupture. His complexion changed, and he rapidly retreated. This was because in the distant world, a terrifying flood of energy was sweeping over. The billowing waves of energy were enough to collapse 10,000 mountains. A barbaric bull with a terrifying aura rushed over. With a loud roar, the skies were filled with blood. With a single roar, Su Yan's body was racked with pain. Even his bones and pores were spilling out. Damn it, why is there another one? Su Yin was enraged. His eyes widened. Another ancient vicious beast rushed over. This was a barbaric bull with a powerful aura. It rushed into the battlefield, its roar splitting the heavens as it chased after Su Yin. Su Yin wanted to retreat. He wanted to retreat first before anything else. But the rock rapidly rushed over. It spread its wings and attacked Su Yin. Bang! The divine ape fell from the skies. It waved its giant arms and smashed down in anger. It wanted to smash Su Yin into pieces. Three ancient vicious beasts with world-shaking combat strength. Just how shocking was their strength? Now, they began to surround and annihilate Su Yin. This scene would cause even gods to tremble. But they were attacking Su Yin at the same time. Their strength was too savage, causing Su Yan's eyes to darken. No matter how strong he was, it would be difficult for him to deal with them in a short period of time. Moreover, Su Yin wasn't in his peak condition. This battle was many times more dangerous than encountering the two sons of chaos. Kill! Su Yin roared out. He could only go all out and fight with his life on the line. His domain erupted, and he revolved the beginning sutra. Strength gushed out from his body, blotting out the skies as it struck towards the three ancient beings. A peerless collision was born, a monstrous collision. No matter how strong Su Yin was, his domain was suppressed. His domain was also suppressed for a short period of time. The barbaric power kept attacking Su Yan's body, which was about to shatter. Su Yin roared and summoned his life-divine weapon. He wanted to break the situation here. It was best to kill one of them first. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to survive. After all, he was seriously injured. If Su Yin was in his peak condition, he wouldn't be afraid of being surrounded and hunted. Roar, however, at the moment when Su Yin counterattacked, another creature rushed over from the distant world. It spewed out vast white air waves as if a supreme being had descended. Oh no! Su Yan's expression changed drastically. A white tiger with a terrifying aura rushed over. It was more brutal than the divine ape, faster than the heavenly pung, and more frightening than the sound waves of a bull's roar. It even raised its white tiger claws and evolved a giant energy axe. It chopped off Su Yan's arm. The energy axe had a terrifying might that could split Su Yan. It was really going to cut Su Yan's soul. Chapter 1139. Su Yan let out a shrill cry. His entire arm had been split open. He cried out in pain. This white tiger roared. It was like a supreme being had returned. Its spiritual will suppressed the three great beings until they felt weak. This was a true supreme being, invincible in space and time. No matter what era it was a king among supreme beings. The white tiger's arrival made the three great beings feel somewhat fearful. This was an era where the strong ruled. Although they were afraid of the white tiger, they saw the life essence in Su Yan's body. They cried out uncontrollably. Even if the white tiger was suppressing them, the three great beings would not give up on Su Yan so easily. In an instant, an even more tragic situation was born. They saw Su Yan as prey and wanted to kill him. The moment the four great beings charged over, Su Yan truly experienced death. No matter how heaven-defying his methods were, it was extremely difficult for him to resist the joint attack of the four great beings. In a single exchange, Su Yan's flesh was spilling blood. He was going to die under the joint attack of the four great supreme beings. In this desperate situation, Su Yan's shattered body emitted a terrifying silver beam of light. It was surrounded by an aura of immortality. It was like a silver true dragon was lying in Su Yan's ruined body. Wisps of immortal radiance rose. Roar! The four great beings trembled. They were stunned by the awakened substance in Su Yan's body. For a moment, they actually fled. They were afraid of the awakened immortal Tao substance in Su Yan's body. The four great beings retreated, and the world regained its tranquility. However, it was still filled with deathly stillness and misery. The ground was littered with corpses. It was impossible to count how many there were. It was hard to imagine what had happened here. Moreover, the dead zone was vast and boundless. Its atmosphere was glorious and ancient. It was filled with the aura of desolation and death. The Hell Palace's dead zone trial ground was only at the edge. Su Yan occupied this place. His ruined body emitted a silver immortal radiance. This was the result of him directly using the immortal Tao substance. It contained immeasurable immortal essence qi, which penetrated Su Yan's ruined body. It was equivalent to falling into a gentle dream in a desperate situation. In a short time, Su Yan's declining aura surged. His ruined body rapidly healed as if he had eaten a great tonic. The effects of this immortal Tao substance were too frightening. Its energy was much more shocking than divine medicine. This shocked Su Yan. This was the immortal Tao substance. It contained an immortal energy, immortal essence. Come! Su Yan's body boiled with a vast amount of blood essence. In just 10 short breaths, he recovered. Su Yan's flesh burned like an immortal divine furnace. While he was enjoying the baptism of this substance, the immortal Tao substance released a type of terrifying energy substance. This type of energy made Su Yan's divine soul tremble. He wanted to submit. It was as if he saw an unsurpassed figure emerge from the immortal Tao substance. It was as if a true immortal towered between heaven and earth, overlooking him and making him submit. A projection of the immortal Tao. Su Yan turned pale with fright. This was a projection evolved from a bit of the immortal Tao's will. Even so, it still contained an unsurpassed Tao technique energy. It made Su Yan want to submit, want to follow it. Immortal Tao. Sooner or later, I will also become an immortal Tao. Su Yan's primordial spirit blazed, doing his best to shake off the immortal Tao's will pressure. He finally understood why the immortal Tao substance couldn't be easily used. It was because this type of substance contained the aura of the immortal Tao, greatly affecting one's cultivation. But wanting to scatter the immortal Tao's pressure was extremely difficult. Su Yan bitterly endured, at the same time drawing on the immortal Tao essence to increase his strength. Time passed day after day. he discovered that the immortal Tao's was extremely difficult to erase. In the end, Su Yin operated the initial scripture, using the scripture to guard his heart, minimizing the immortal Tao's influence on him. After all, it was only a bit of will. Su Yin suffered for 9 days and 9 nights before the immortal Tao's became somewhat indistinct. Break! Su Yan's essence energy erupted, forcefully shattering the immortal Tao's will. However, this collapsed immortal Tao's surged with strands of even more astonishing immortal Tao substance. This substance was extremely powerful. This was true immortal Tao substance. When Su Yin bathed in this immortal Tao substance, he felt as if he was going to gather multicolored clouds and ascend. His entire body rippled with boundless divine might, his foundation rising sharply. He even felt as if he had become younger, as if he had obtained an immeasurable amount of lifespan. This is the immortal Tao. Could it be that they really are immortal Tao existences? Su Yin was endlessly shocked. The immortal Tao's drop of blood had nearly transformed Su Yin, causing his strength to rise sharply, his lifespan to rise sharply, and his foundation to increase. This was simply a golden age within a golden age. Su Yin naturally became even more powerful. Now, Su Yin still had 3 drops of immortal Tao substance on him. However, this thing was difficult to obtain. Once it was used up, it would be gone. Su Yin carefully sensed his own situation. Although the immortal Tao substance caused Su Yan's combat strength to rise sharply, he discovered that this didn't all belong to him. This caused Su Yan's heart to tremble. This thing wasn't suitable for him to eat too much. But in this world, these 3 drops of immortal Tao substance are the foundation of my life preservation. Su Yin bitterly smiled. This is a tempering that comes from the earth domain. I will soon be able to adapt to my current body. Then, what comes next is to properly adapt to this world. Su Yin stood at his peak. Even if he was in a sorry state before, he might not have lost an arm. Now, with the immortal Tao substance, his severed arm had grown back. Su Yan's eyes surged with a powerful fighting spirit. To survive, he had to carve out a bloody path and become a king. Only then would he be able to understand the hidden ultimate good fortune of the earth domain. It's time to go. Su Yin stood up and quietly left this area. He was like the only life form with his own, hidden in this blood-red world. He began to search. Su Yin was prepared to find the 4 great life forms and kill them one by one. Perhaps he could obtain something. He had to quickly familiarize himself with this world before he could pursue his own good fortune. Soon, Su Yin discovered the habitat of the ape god. It was a vast blood-red world, majestic and boundless. Su Yin was at the edge of the world. For the time being, he did not know how big this world was. However, the ground was filled with corpses, the ground was broken, and the divine ape was living in an ominous cave. There was even a huge corpse in the ominous cave that was well preserved. Su Yin looked around and found that there was only one life form, the ape god here. Let's begin. In an instant, he attacked. Like a terrifying comet rising from the ground, he attacked the ominous cave in an instant. The ominous cave directly exploded. Smoke and dust billowed, and nearby bones flew everywhere. Roar! The ape god roared. A pair of cruel eyes stared at Su Yin, full of greed. You want to eat me? I'll kill you. Su Yan's abnormal strength attacked like lightning, hitting the divine ape's huge arm until it cracked. His barbaric strength was released, and he almost went all out, hitting the entire area until it was overturned. Kill! Su Yin roared. He had to end the battle quickly. If the commotion continued for too long, it would definitely attract the attention of the 3 creatures from before. There might even be other creatures coming to kill him. Su Yan's fist momentum was monstrous, surging and roaring. Dong! Su Yin punched again and again, hitting the ape god until it trembled. It staggered back, its huge body constantly cracking. In a one-on-one fight, it was no match for Su Yin. Moreover, Su Yan's combat strength had increased by a lot. In just a few breaths of time, he erupted with all his strength. The ape god was beaten until it doubted life. It roared angrily and wanted to escape. It had no choice but to run. However, Suyin did not give a chance to escape. He pounced forward again, took out his life weapon, and directly smashed half of the ape god's body. Die! Suyin swung his fist and smashed it on its head. This punch was unstoppable. It rushed over and smashed the divine ape's face until it cracked. It smashed its soul until it collapsed. In the end, the ape god let out a sorrowful roar. It was directly killed by Suyin. However, the result stunned Suyin. The huge body of the ape god that he killed suddenly shattered. It turned into a mass of blood-colored energy substance, floating like a wisp of life energy. Suyin's expression was uncertain. Then he looked at the huge corpse in the collapsed ominous cave and looked at the blood-colored chi that was trying to drill into the corpse. Suyin thought for a moment and understood. They were not real creatures. Instead, it was a wisp of life energy left behind before they died. A wisp of life energy left behind before they died formed a true spirit. Suyin was a little shocked. How strong were they when they were alive? A wisp of life energy actually had the combat strength of a peak deity. Could this be an almighty being? In any case, Suyin was extremely excited. He swallowed this wisp of life energy in one go, causing his physique to burn. His body went deeper, and he vaguely felt like he was about to unlock an even stronger physique strength. Ha! The heavens are helping me. Ha ha! Suyin looked up to the sky and laughed. No wonder the old chief said that this was a trial ground for the myriad tribulation body. So it was because of this. His physique, indeed, needed this kind of energy to nourish it. Of course, one ape god was far from enough. However, if he hunted enough creatures, Suyin would definitely have the foundation to evolve his physique. Not only could he use this opportunity to temper himself, but he could also use this opportunity to kill creatures to accumulate his own strength. At this time, in all directions, strong winds blew. Roars like thunder rolled and roared. In the distant world, 3 great creatures rushed over like lightning. It's them again. I wonder how many creatures like them exist in this world. Suyin's eyes turned cold. He did not choose to fight them head-on. The white tiger was extremely strong, and it would definitely take a long time to fight. Suyin was prepared to temporarily avoid them. This world was too dangerous for him. He did not know how many creatures like them there were. If the battle attracted more creatures, Suyin would very likely be killed. His immortal Tao materials were limited. Before he figured out the situation, he would not rashly fight with them. The most important thing was to first investigate the situation in this world. Chapter 1140. Suyin retreated first and left this area. However, the 3 creatures were still in hot pursuit. Suyin wanted to kill them and swallow their life force. At the same time, they also wanted to kill Suyin and seize the life force in his body. In the process of the 3 creatures chasing, Suyin crossed a vast territory. However, when he forced himself into the next section of the road, his expression changed in the end. In the blood-red area ahead, the sky was filled with stars trembling. A low and deep beast roar exploded, shocking all living things. Because of Suyin's arrival, several terrifying creatures that were hibernating in this area were awakened. They opened their greedy eyes and stared at Suyin. They were extremely thirsty for the life force in his body. There are 3 experts that are not inferior to them here. Suyin sucked in a breath of cold air. How many of the ancient beasts that had disappeared in the outside world had died here? It was really hard to guess. Moreover, they were extremely strong when they were alive. If they rushed down, once Suyin was squeezed in the middle of them, he would most likely die. Suyin quickly retreated. He was a little surprised that the 3 creatures in this area did not chase after him. There was fear in their eyes, and they did not dare to rashly step into the area where Suyin was at. Perhaps this is their territory, and they do not welcome outsiders. Suyin's heart surged with joy. If this was the case, he could do as he pleased and not have to worry about other dangerous factors. This territory should belong to White Tiger and the others. If that's the case, then come. Su Yin took out his life force divine weapon, which turned into a sky piercer. He held it with one arm, and his aura was powerful. His long hair fluttered in the wind. Su Yan's whole body surged with Dali's strength, and he took the initiative to meet the three creatures. He wanted to take down this territory and gain a foothold in this land of death. A great battle broke out, just like that. The edge of this land of death trembled, and the piles of bones on the ground rolled up. A bloody battle of life and death had begun. For Su Yin, this was a training ground, and also a place of fortune. As long as he killed the life force of these dead creatures, he could obtain materials that were beneficial to him. He could definitely grow rapidly in battle. Then let's kill. Su Yin and the three creatures engaged in a fierce battle. He had already killed a divine ape, and the pressure on Su Yin had decreased. Facing these three creatures was not particularly difficult for Su Yin. However, this price was a price. But compared to the life force of their bodies, it was somewhat insignificant. The land of death seemed to be a battlefield that had once been lost. It was now the hall of hell, a trial of death. Who knew how many creatures had died here? The ground was littered with countless corpses. At the edge of the vast land of death, the energy fluctuations were intense. Sand and pebbles were sent flying, and gods wept and ghosts wept. Initial fist. Su Yin brandished his strongest combat strength. This was an extreme fist technique, the most powerful divine ability in history. With the vibrations of Su Yan's body, he pierced through the Peng's body, creating a bloody hole. Finally, he used the heavenly halberd to cut off the Peng's head. Su Yin laughed heartily. He swept through the entire battlefield. Although using the initial fist consumed a great deal of his energy, he had killed the heavenly Peng and stolen its life force. After swallowing it, Su Yan's aura rose sharply. A supreme heavenly might gushed out from the depths of his body. Even the white tiger, with its extraordinary combat strength, was somewhat afraid. There were only 4 great creatures in this territory, but now he had already killed 3 of them. This human cultivator was even more ferocious as he fought. This caused the white tiger to be extremely apprehensive. But when it saw the rich life force within Su Yan's body, the white tiger savagely roared and pounced forward to collide with him. It had to be said that this white tiger was extremely strong. Su Yan fought for an entire day and night. In the end, his body was covered in wounds, but he still killed the white tiger. It turned into a strand of life force energy. Its value was even greater than the life force energy of the 3 great creatures. After Su Yin swallowed it, his physique soared. Blazing flames surged like an immortal furnace, causing this area to soar with an incomparably exuberant source of life. Before Su Yin had time to be happy, his expression changed. The nearby creatures began to stir. At least 10 of them opened their greedy eyes and stared at Su Yin. Not good. Su Yin felt a headache coming on. He really had to keep a low profile and not reveal too much of his life force. To these dead creatures, the rich life force within Su Yan's body was an energy form that they desired to devour. Now, trouble had arrived. Several creatures could no longer hold themselves back and attacked. They were incomparably thirsty for the life force within Su Yan's body. Su Yan seemed to have a premonition of the dangers he would face in the future. He really had to kill his way in. It was unknown how long the bitter battle would last. If he didn't kill, these creatures would treat him as a meal on their plate. A trial of death began just like that. Day after day, month after month. Time passed in a flash. Su Yan had already spent an entire 3 months here. Corpses and bones littered the broken earth. A somewhat miserable figure stood there. His body was dyed in blood, bloody and sinister. It was already impossible to distinguish his specific appearance. Too miserable. It would be great if I could have a cup of good wine. Su Yan's entire body reeked of blood. It was as if he had crawled out from hell. Only his pupils were cold, but they were also filled with excitement and madness. Buzz. Countless great vicious auras were emitted from his body. In the past 3 months, If not over 100 great vicious beasts had died in his hands, then at least 70 to 80. Suyin didn't even know how many creatures he had killed. His spirit was somewhat numb and had turned into a killing machine. Now, he was fleeing because he was facing the encirclement of dozens of creatures. At the same time, Suyan's aura was also very frightening. Once he erupted, the might of a supreme being would be vast and mighty. It was as if there was an endless supreme, vicious aura stored within his body. The moment it overflowed, it would overturn the heavens and earth. He traversed over a dozen territories and arrived at the outermost region. Seeing 7 or 8 creatures still chasing after him, Suyin snorted coldly and directly pressed forward to engage in a bloody battle with them. In this land of death, the battle was truly endless. Suyin had forgotten the time. Gradually, he had bitterly fought in this land of death for an entire year. A terrifying roar exploded. The roar shattered the corpses that filled the sky. All of a sudden, it was as if a terrifying demon king had soared into the sky. The stench of blood overflowed and affected a corner of the universe with a dark red color. The remnant stars in the sky trembled. That was because a figure had also erupted with overflowing ripples. One after another, powerful creatures exploded. They had been roared to death by Suyin. They transformed into a pure aura of life and nourished Suyan's body that was riddled with holes. This was a man who had fought in this land of death. He was bloody and tyrannical. He wanted to live on. He wanted to kill his way out and seek his own fortune. Suyan's pair of eyes were extremely sharp. He turned a blind eye to his own improvement. He was like a king who had entered the Tao through killing. His body surged with terrifying energy. It blotted out the sky and covered the earth as it furiously pressed forward. Roar! The group of beasts let out a low roar. Their formation was in chaos. Suyan's speed was too fast. Sometimes he was like lightning, sometimes he was like a star, sometimes he was like a Koan Pong, and sometimes he was like a white tiger. His body was blazing to the extreme. It was as if he had the wrath of a supreme being. After a year of bitter fighting, Suyin had received a baptism. He was like the most valiant battle machine. He rushed into the group of beasts and slaughtered one powerful creature after another. Kill! Suyin roared. He brandished a blood-red halberd. His divine weapon erupted. It was filled with the stench of blood and was filled with the spirit of an overlord's weapon. The void was split open. One powerful creature after another died. They transformed into the purest aura of life and nourished Suyan's ruined body. It allowed him to recover. Suyin grew in adversity. He roared in a hopeless situation. His spiritual will was too terrifying. He was completely like a demon god who had walked out from the land of death. He swept across the battlefield and stopped killing with killing. After an entire year, Suyan's transformation was too great. He swept across hundreds of domains and killed countless archaic great vicious beasts. He grew in battle and comprehended a few great killing techniques. He relied on the advantage of his physical body to charge forward. Suyin observed 10,000 beasts and stole their aura of life. He captured their battle essence and comprehended their battle techniques. He observed 10,000 beasts and bathed in their aura. He evolved his own killing techniques and groped for the most primitive battle stance. He groped for a path. It caused his body to emit an ominous glint. It was as if he had gathered the power of the great wilderness. Roar! The vast territory reverberated with the roar of beasts. It split the blood-colored dome of heaven. The border region was in chaos. It began to tremble because of one person. After a year of bloody battle, Suyin conquered a vast territory. He even wanted to become the king of 10,000 beasts. His body rippled with a heaven-overflowing, fiendish aura. He wanted to defy the heavens. Boom! At this final moment, Suyan's power, his murderous aura, his exuberant source of life, brought about a terrifying great crisis. In the depths of the world, a terrifying heavenly might suddenly rippled out. It suppressed the long river of time and seemed to be invincible in all space-time. Suyan's aura was iron-blooded. and his appearance was sinister. When he saw the scene in the depths of the ruined earth, he roared at the top of his lungs, "Motherf asterisk cur." He ran away. He didn't even turn his head back. It was because in the depths of the blood-colored earth, terrifying creatures that could sweep through all great eras awakened. He saw a Kuanpong. He saw an enormous heavenly beast. He saw a vermilion bird bathed in divine flames. He saw a true devil born from primal chaos. Those were terrifying figures one after another. They were powerful to the extreme, enough to become the main characters of all great eras. There were even many humanoid creatures that rippled with a supreme heavenly might. This was a supreme body that was unrivaled under the heavens. It was to the extent where Su Yin saw an azure dragon. Its thick body stretched for 100,000 li. Its blood-colored horn pierced through the heavens. Its terrifying claws tore apart the ruined stars that filled the sky. It released a dragon roar that shook the world. It was a scene that was enough to make one feel despair. Over 100 terrifying creatures charged through the territory, sweeping up corpses that filled the sky as they charged toward Su Yin. In a single exchange, Su Yin endured an exceptional pressure. Even his soul was about to be destroyed. "Why would I need to fear you all?" Su Yin released a great roar. His essence, energy, rushed into the heavens. His soul was recovering, blasting open a shackle. He was going to declare himself king here, declare himself a tyrant. His primordial spirit burned to the extreme, almost reaching the divine king realm. "But you all better not fucking join hands." Su Yin cursed. In the end, he still managed to escape, but he simply couldn't outrun this true dragon. Faced with an invincible combat strength that could overturn the entire flourishing age and the hunt of over 100 supreme creatures, Su Yin felt as if his physical body was about to collapse and he was about to die. In the end, he used a second drop of immortal Tao matter. Chapter 1141. The second drop of immortal Tao substance was released, scaring the hundreds of creatures into the depths of the broken earth. This was because this immortal Tao substance contained the immortal heavenly might and the will to crush all living beings. After all, these creatures were evolved from the small amount of life energy they had left behind when they were alive, so they didn't have much of their own will. They would retreat once they encountered a danger that was too strong. This also became Su Yan's life-saving method. The burning of the second drop of immortal Tao substance caused Su Yan's battered body to burn immortal heavenly essence. He bathed in the immortal Tao substance's essence without restraint, and his nearly crippled body began to heal. He was about to regrow a true battle body. After a year of bitter fighting, Su Yan's injuries were severe. Now that he had been baptized, his deteriorating blood essence quickly boiled with terrifying divine power, especially his primordial spirit. A year of bitter fighting had forged Su Yan's peerless will. It had been ready for action long ago. Now that he was enduring the suppression of the forbidden will, his primordial spirit finally broke through. Boom! A ball of divine light burned in his forehead. It was as if a Buddha was soaring through the sky and a Taoist sovereign was sitting cross-legged. This was the Yuan spirit of a king. The moment he broke through, Su Yan's aura surged by a large amount. This was the energy of the divine soul, a monstrous wave of divinity. At this moment, Su Yan was like a king. The king's secret power sprinkled down from his forehead and covered Su Yan's flesh shell, causing his aura to skyrocket and his combat strength to skyrocket. This is the divine king's primordial spirit. Su Yan was moved. It was much stronger than he had imagined. He had broken through under the pressure of the land of death, causing Su Yan's primordial spirit to be exceptionally strong. His soul energy was full, and he could easily use his divine will to explore 1,000,000 miles of territory. Even the king primordial spirit filled Su Yan's body with a terrifying aura. This had never happened before. Now, because of the divine king's primordial spirit, his spiritual will was extraordinary, causing Su Yan's body to recover as well. "Man, God," Su Yan murmured. It was as if his body had been revived from a deep slumber and contained divinity. It It was an extremely terrifying manifestation. He carefully probed this type of energy, discovering that regardless of whether it was his combat strength, divine abilities, or secret techniques, they all soared in a straight line. It was completely different from before, full of a type of astonishing secret force. No wonder some divine kings find it extremely difficult to refine a divine king's primordial spirit. It seems like a divine king's primordial spirit is indispensable in order to become an apex king. Right now, my primordial spirit has already given me enough battle strength. Su Yan was secretly shocked. He also knew that the reason why he could break through the Yuan Shun barrier was because of the bloody battles in the past year. His spirit and will were always at the peak, and as time passed, the barrier was loosened. Right now, Su Yan was using the undying substance to temper his body. After his broken body was reconstructed, Su Yan discovered that his combat strength had risen sharply. This caused him to be pleasantly surprised. Although the death-smelting trial was extremely dangerous, after a long period of bitter battles, Su Yan's combat strength had continuously risen. He was looking forward to how strong he would be in a few years' time. Even his physique was getting stronger day by day. Su Yan's eyes were also filled with desire. If he could kill creatures like the true dragon, his physique's flaw would be greatly mended. I'll use my body as my Tao. When the time comes and I really reach this step, the heavenly god realm will cultivate into an extremely powerful domain. Su Yan laughed loudly. He had made up his mind to unearth the treasures of his physique in the heavenly god realm. At the same time, he wanted to find his own path. Right now, this path was already taking shape. After a few more days, Su Yan absorbed all the immortal Tao substance. His cultivation level had also risen sharply to the 8th layer of the heavenly god realm. Su Yan's emotions surged. His harvest was great. At the same time, he thought to himself, divine ability looks like the divine king realm is a complete evolution period. This path is not far from me. Su Yan disappeared from this area and continued his bloody battles. He also knew that creatures like the true dragon were extremely difficult to hunt. He had to cultivate to the peak of the heavenly god realm before he could compete with this kind of heaven-defying creature. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, another year had passed. Here in the Chaos Pagoda, the place where geniuses gathered, the place where geniuses rose. From the moment it opened until now, 3 years had already passed. There were less than 100,000 creatures left in the Chaos Pagoda. And now, the person with the highest record was Sky Bamboo's Song Tian. Inconceivable, Song Tian used 3 years to break through 3 levels in a row. He's already reached the 4th level. It's rumored that every trial space in the Chaos Pagoda can open 5 heavenly levels. Passing the 5th level is already a supreme expert. Could it be that Song Tian is going to directly enter the 5th level and become a supreme expert? Unbelievable. Song Tian's perception is so frightening. The experts of the various sects discussed intensely. Because just yesterday, Song Tian directly rushed to the 4th level, causing a huge uproar. Now, there was a group of geniuses trapped in the 3rd level. But Song Tian created a miracle. He broke through 3 levels in 3 years and was now at the 4th level. Song Tian created a legend. Many people sighed with emotion. But now that this legend was mentioned, they couldn't help but think of a legend that had disappeared. Su Xianren entered the Hell Palace. It's been almost 3 years. Someone whispered. This caused some of the experts discussing Song Tian's achievements to sneer inwardly. Someone said, Su Yan has probably already fallen in the Hell Palace. He originally had a condition to compete with Song Tian's progress, but everything was ruined by his arrogance. Song Tian has fused with the heavenly Tao Stone. Moreover, his physique is already terrifying. The complete embodiment of Song Tian is now at the 4th level. Once he breaks through, Song Tian will become a peerless king. He will be infinitely close to becoming a supreme expert. The curtain fell on a legend, but another legend rose up. It seemed that because Su Xianren entered the Hell Palace, it caused Song Tian to be like the sun at noon. He had become a new generation of legends and glory. Moreover, behind Song Tian was a peak race, the Sky Bamboo. In the future, Song Tian would definitely become extremely dazzling. Now, his every action would attract the attention of the world. Can one obtain the Chaos Pagoda after passing the 5 heavenly levels? Some people were especially curious and began to ask. Immediately, many great figures were asked. An old antique shook his head and said, "There have been many experts who have passed the 5 heavenly levels in the past. Most of them came from the Tao Church. However, after the 5 heavenly levels is the Hell Palace." Everyone was astonished. Su Yin had passed the 5 heavenly levels and entered the Hell Palace in advance. However, the Hell Palace was a place of certain death. Moreover, there had been experts from the Tao Church who had entered the Hell Palace in the past, but they had not obtained the Chaos Pagoda. Therefore, after a long time, some of the peak race's supreme experts had concluded that the Chaos Pagoda was only a training ground and not a treasure. Big news. The Immortal Graveyard is shaking on its own. Some great figures are speculating that the Immortal Graveyard will open in 2 or 3 years. What? The Immortal Graveyard is about to open? There's only 2 or 3 years left. How can it be so fast? That's right. Right now, many geniuses are still risking their lives in the Chaos Pagoda. I'm afraid that because the Immortal Graveyard is opening, these geniuses will break through in advance and enter the Immortal Graveyard. This news caused a great commotion. The influence of this matter was unprecedented. The Immortal Graveyard was the most powerful land of good fortune in history. Even the world inside was complete. Once the Immortal Graveyard opened, it would be the most intense time for all the heroes to fight for supremacy. If Su Yin still doesn't come out, he's destined to have nothing to do with the great world. Some people felt pity for him. The most terrifying golden age was about to arrive. The main characters of a younger generation of various space-times would appear. Some people felt that without Su Xianren, something was missing. There were also people who felt that Su Yin had most likely already fallen. What kind of place was the Hell Palace? It was a land of death. In the past, only a single expert from the Tao Church had come out alive. The rest had all been buried in the land of death. No one could break this legend again. Moreover, Su Yin had already been in the Hell Palace for almost 3 years. Many people believed that Su Yin was already dead. Didn't they say that vicious people lived for a long time? Dion won't die. Luo Huaqing's expression was gloomy and her eyes were red. 2 years had passed, and there was still no news of Su Yin. However, she did not believe that Su Yin would remain silent like this. He would definitely return and take back the glory that belonged to him. De Li and the others were silent. They did not respond to the rumors and slanders in the outside world. Su Yin had already decided many years ago that he would go to the Hell Palace. In the past, the old chief had come out alive, so Su Yin would definitely come out alive as well. However, it would definitely take a long time. No one knew what the Hell Palace had, and no one knew what kind of predicament the Hell Palace would encounter. For example, Su Yin had ventured into the land of death. There was also the land of life. He did not know whether or not what he encountered was the cruelest trial in history. In short, he fought bloody battles in the land of death. His only thought was to survive. Day after day, month after month, year after year. A broken blood-colored earth, a vast territory. Su Yin was drenched in hot blood, sweat dripping from his body. His appearance was bloody and fierce. His arms had been hacked off, his body had been sliced apart, half of his body had been shattered, and his chest had been blasted through. This was a trial of blood and tears. It was incomparably bumpy, incomparably difficult, and filled with strange dangers. He fought here, but he was still alive. He left behind footprints in one domain after another, but they were accompanied by blood and cruelty. The vast world was in turmoil. 10,000 beasts roared as they rushed over the broken earth. They trampled on the endless corpses, causing them to explode. Boundless and terrifying killing light swept out, sweeping through the entire land of blood. The endless years of peace here were all because of the arrival of a single person. Because this person grew stronger with each passing day. Because he became more and more terrifying with each passing day. This vast blood-colored earth was thrown into complete chaos. Roar! Countless vicious beasts rushed over the earth, trampling the land until it trembled. Large groups of vicious birds flew across the sky. Their bodies were massive as they descended from the skies. This was the boundless momentum of 10,000 beasts coming out of their cages. Everything went berserk, and they all emitted killing intent that wanted to devour Su Yin. In all directions, in the universe's starry skies, the heavens were shaking, the earth was trembling, and the mountains and seas were rumbling. 10,000 beasts attacked, charging towards a ruined territory. But this world was in turmoil, surging 1,000 times more violently. A figure traversed the heavens, his body surging with terrifying radiance, piercing through the drifting stars in the sky. It's been 5 years. I'll send you all on your way. A furious roar exploded. This world couldn't hide Su Yan's sharpness. He was like an emperor's star rising from the broken world, radiant and surging with supreme heavenly might. It was as if there was a grand supreme totem on his back, releasing the light of 10,000 Daos. Boom! Su Yan brandished his life-divine weapon. The blood-colored giant axe was berserk to the extreme, splitting the heavens and hacking down, tearing apart the vast earth. Countless creatures exploded, unable to withstand this strike. Su Yan and his life-divine weapon became one, unleashing a terrifying strike. It contained the killing intent of these 5 years of bloody battles, destroying the entire battlefield. Chapter 1142. The earth caved in and the sky shattered. Dust billowed, corpses and bones flew everywhere, and the smell of blood filled the sky. Countless living beings were annihilated, and all of this originated from a single figure. He released 10,000 Dao of slaughter and merged with his natal divine weapon to unleash a monstrous attack. Huff, huff! Su Yin panted heavily, his messy hair draped over his shoulders. This attack had completely exhausted Su Yin. 5 years, a whole 5 years. These 5 years were really worse than death. He had encountered too many difficulties, too many life and death dangers. He had endured it, survived it, struggled in the hell, and finally created a divine ability. 10,000 Dao of slaughter. Su Yin murmured. For a whole 5 years, he had observed 10,000 beasts, comprehended the essence of battle, and comprehended their most primitive battle forms. These once dead, living beings cultivated to the heavens. After they died, they left behind a trace of life chi, which turned into their appearance when they were alive. This natal chi still retained their ferocious aura, their battle origin. Su Yin had been rampaging in the primitive world, spending as long as 5 years, and fighting no less than 10,000 battles of life and death. He was the strongest, and he had opened a path, killed his way out of the hell, evolved 10,000 Dao of slaughter, and unleashed a shocking attack that destroyed the entire battlefield. But this is just the beginning. Su Yan's eyes were burning like torches. His path had already begun, and he had already reached the scale. However, Su Yan felt that his own path had just begun. He still needed to fight stronger battles, and that was Su Yan's eyes looked into the depths. After 5 years of bloody battles, Su Yan finally understood that in the depths of the broken blood-colored land was the place where the strongest monsters gathered. There were true dragons, immortal phoenixes, heavenly beasts, Kuan Peng. The depths were the most dangerous places. Now that Su Yan stood at the peak of the heavenly god realm, he finally had the qualifications to enter the depths and fight with the strongest living beings in history. Boom! At this time, his natal weapon shone. The blood-colored axe turned into a huge cauldron, and as it spat, the chi of life in the world surged up, penetrating his natal weapon. Su Yan no longer needed these materials. He needed the natal chi of heaven-defying creatures like the true dragons to further evolve his physique. Now, he used these vicious chi to nourish his natal weapon, and even used it to fight for 5 years. This weapon had long transformed, and was filled with a kind of peerless tyrannical aura. It could be called a tyrannical weapon. It had its own soul, as if it had a body of flesh and blood. Now that it absorbed this source energy, it caused its life artifact to become even more powerful, releasing a great vicious aura that intimidated heaven and earth. It's time for me to leave. It's been 5 years. Su Yan's footsteps were steady. His blood-stained body emanated a myriad of murderous auras that resonated with the blood essence within his body, causing the energy of the Grand Tao to surge. Every single step he took caused space and time to vanish, and it was as if he was stepping on a domain of space. He was truly powerful. He had fought while bathed in blood. For an entire 5 years, he had carved out a bloody path. Su Yan's natal weapon turned into a huge cauldron, floating above Su Yan's head. The cauldron was filled with a myriad of strange phenomena. It was as if a myriad of vicious chi were emerging from within, and it was rolling with Su Yan's aura. As he went deeper, he arrived at the residence of a group of legendary creatures. Su Yan could already feel a pair of cold eyes staring at him. Without a doubt, Su Yan had intruded into their territory, and this had infuriated the kings of this territory. The bloody battle had begun once again. Just as Su Yan had expected, this was an endless battle. Only by sweeping through the bloody chaotic lands and piercing through the land of death would he be able to kill his way out. Who dares to take on my fists? Su Yan's roar shook the entire area. It was as if a generation's Overlord had returned. His peerless aura engulfed the entire core area, causing the mountains and rivers within hundreds of thousands of li to tremble. Buzz! A Kuan Peng rushed over and clashed with Su Yan face to face, creating a huge crack in the space. The Kuan Peng's aura overflowed into the sky as it clashed with Su Yan's fist. The collision of pure physical strength was peerless and tyrannical. Huge waves rolled over and over, sweeping through all directions. The most powerful creature in history, hand over your life. Su Yan rushed over and clashed head-on with the Kuan Peng. Every time he raised his hand, an earth-shattering energy would descend. Tens of thousands of murderous auras converged and surged with peerless ferocity. The Kuan Peng's body was trembling as it was about to be pierced through by Su Yan. Come and fight. Su Yan roared in anger. His strength surged, and his blood-stained hair danced in the wind. His battle prowess soared into the heavens. He needed pressure to perfect his own peerless arts. A single Kuan Peng was not enough. In the depths of this land of death, there were immediately supreme creatures with powerful auras rushing out. Kill! Su Yan faced the sky and let out a long roar. He was unstoppable as he rushed forward. Along the way, a stunning battle broke out. Su Yan looked disdainfully at all directions. He brandished his fist and once again smashed towards a huge azure dragon. A peerless power was released. This was a peerless struggle for hegemony. He fought until the world lost its light. Su Yan's other palm suddenly stretched out. He brandished the sky piercer and hacked towards a huge heavenly beast. Let's fight to our heart's content today. Su Yan laughed heartily. His courage was astonishing. He opened his mouth and spat out a mass of 10,000 murderous auras. It merged with the pure divine power in Su Yan's body. With a whoosh, it turned into a huge wave and rushed towards a vermilion bird that was coming from afar. Kuan Peng, azure dragon, heavenly beast, vermilion bird. A total of 4 great heaven-defying creatures fought intensely with Su Yan. Su Yan became more and more courageous during the battle. It was equivalent to him letting go of everything, letting go of life and death. He was going to fight for a path to heaven. Su Yan's eyes flashed with determination. He swallowed the last drop of immortal Tao substance. He carried the courage to fight for life in the face of death. He swallowed the last drop of immortal Tao substance, completely cutting off his path to life. He gave up on everything, wishing to open up his own path of invincibility. This was a rhythm that was enough to frighten experts to death. In the land of death, Su Yin encountered the four great supreme creatures' attacks. He actually used the last drop of immortal Tao substance. Originally, Su Yin had 2 drops, but he also used one before. Now he used the last drop, giving up his final life, saving trump card. If he didn't die, then he would live. At the same time, Su Yin was also using this drop of immortal substance as the source of battle. He wanted to maintain his peak strength for a short period of time and face the 4 great supreme creatures head-on, fighting for a path to invincibility. 5 years had passed. Su Yin didn't want to continue. He wanted to end everything. This was because Su Yin felt that his path had come. He had to undergo a cruel trial of death and fight for life. This drop of immortal Tao substance. Su Yin was somewhat surprised. This wasn't the immortal Tao substance of the Valley of Chaos Valley Master, but belonged to someone else. This was because the form of energy was completely different. The purple immortal substance contained life energy that surpassed the immortal Tao substance of the Valley of Chaos Valley Master. This immortal Tao substance didn't even have any taboo will. It was completely the essence of immortal Tao substance. It was a fatal temptation even to the Almighty. Su Yin was astonished. Could it be that Fairy Zixia had given it to him? It didn't come from the Valley of Chaos. Could it be that the Tao Temple also has a taboo? This is the Tao Temple's taboo immortal substance? Su Yin didn't have time to think. The situation he was facing was extremely dangerous. Even though the 4 great supreme creatures had died and left behind a supreme aura, they still possessed supreme majesty and peerless battle strength. Now a human cultivator was provoking them. The 4 great supreme creatures were completely enraged. They joined forces to kill Su Yin. Boom! In a berserk battle, Su Yin faced off against the 4 great supreme creatures alone. The moment they clashed together, the world went mad. In this world that was filled with loud bangs, Su Yin had become one with himself. His entire body was surrounded by 10,000 Tao of slaughter that surged towards the surroundings. Moreover, his body was steaming with immortal matter that maintained his peak combat strength. After all, facing the joint attack of the 4 great supreme creatures, Su Yin was bound to decline in a short period of time. He had to use the immortal Tao substance to maintain his peak state. Kill! Su Yin roared. He threw a punch at the true dragon and another at the Koan Pong. Just the 2 supreme creatures alone were enough to make Su Yin's body tremble violently. He had the will to fight to the death. He raised his head to the sky and roared like a heaven-splitting overlord. His essence, energy, and spirit pierced through the universe. Su Yin's body was like the 4 extremes of the universe. He stretched out his limbs here, which was equivalent to splitting heaven and earth apart. At this moment, he was too valiant, forcibly overturning 2 great supreme beings. His body moved forward, his feet stepping on heaven and earth. His essence energy erupted, as if he was trampling the great Tao beneath his feet, trampling all the supreme beings in the sky beneath his feet. Boom! Su Yin stomped on the ground and created a space-time domain that enveloped the vermilion bird. He swung the Fang Tian halberd with one arm and smashed it at the giant heavenly beast. Roar! The true dragon and Koan Pong were furious. Their auras were too fierce as they swooped down. The imprisoned vermilion bird was bathed in endless divine flames. It burned down the domain Su Yin constructed. Su Yin, who had just fought with the heavenly beast, suffered a thunderous attack. He was simply beaten until he was about to collapse. Cracks appeared on his flesh, blood gushing out from his pores. Death enveloped him. Su Yin roared like a devil god from hell. His eyes were even sharper than blades. The undying substance burned within his body, healing Su Yin's injured body. He activated his most powerful foundation in this desperate situation, evolving 10,000 Tao attacks. His body surged with the sound of the great Tao, as if a supreme deity was chanting scriptures here. His body rippled with 10,000 Tao attacks. His palms pushed through the entire space. attacking the four supreme creatures. A desperate battle. Su Yan even forgot about time. He spilled hot blood here, igniting his fighting strength. During this process, he suffered countless heavy attacks, facing the threat of death many times. In the end, he made it through again and again. His aura was still that tyrannical. He continuously ignited his greatest fighting strength, fighting a bloody battle against the four supreme creatures. The burning immortal Tao substance in his body had already begun to weaken and was about to be exhausted. However, Su Yan did not care about any of this. His spiritual will was still in this desperate struggle. He wanted to fight for a path to survival. The most important thing was to kill his way to the heavens and perfect his strongest Tao foundation. A bloody battle at the peak of perfection. The scene was terrifying. Su Yan's spiritual will was constantly rising. There was even a kind of piercing through heaven and earth, piercing through the universe and the starry sky. There was a kind of peerless spirit that was born to become a supreme being. Chapter 1143. However, no matter how strong Su Yan's battle prowess was, he was currently facing four supreme beings, and every single one of them was a supreme being that was invincible in their respective eras. If it weren't for the fact that Su Yan was bathing in the immortal substance to repair his broken body and replenish his lost divine power, he would have been torn apart and crippled a long time ago. Of course, the four supreme beings also lacked their own supreme secret techniques, which reduced their threat to Su Yan imperceptibly. Of course, they also possessed the most primitive battle stance. Nothing could be underestimated. Once the slightest mistake occurred during the battle, he would certainly be consigned to eternal damnation. Body like the universe. Su Yan coughed up blood. He forgot his own situation and the perilous battlefield he was in. Su Yan's spiritual will was silent in the battle. Everything he did was to pursue his own path of invincibility. He even wanted to survive. He clenched his fists and suddenly understood something. The opening chapter of the beginning sutra reverberated in his eyes. Ancient scriptures appeared in his eyes, emitting mysterious fluctuations that resonated with the universe. This was a kind of energy of the Tao that spread in Su Yan's body. His body seemed to have turned into an ancient scripture book. Waves of vigorous chanting came from his body as if the world was being split open. At this moment, Su Yan grasped a kind of power, a kind of world-shaking power that originated from himself or from the universe. This kind of power was grand and magnificent. It began to flash in Su Yan's body. It was as if thousands of scriptures had formed a divine chain of the great Tao, blazing and brilliant. Boom! All of a sudden, Su Yan's aura skyrocketed. His body released millions of layers of supreme being qi, which gathered in his inner Tao, fused into a furnace, and turned into an energy seed. It was as if a new supreme being was being born, causing Su Yan's aura to be terrifying and monstrous. In a short period of time, the four supreme life forms were sent flying by Su Yan. That was because the energy that was suddenly born in his body was too abnormal. It compressed all matter and converged it into his body. It vibrated with an unparalleled fluctuation. Roar! This also caused the four great supreme beings to go mad with anger, erupting with the most ferocious energy, wishing to tear this human cultivator apart, beat him into bloody light. My body is like the universe, and the universe is in my body, Su Yan muttered. He waved his large hand, and endless energy gathered in the center of his palm. It was as though the world in his palm contained a world of its own. It was as though a corner of the universe had been condensed. At this moment, Su Yan was in control of a corner of the universe. This was a world-shaking method of an extraordinary expert. At the same time, it was also the embodiment of the great Tao. It was terrifying and powerful. A single slap sent the true dragon flying. This is it. Su Yan's eyes blazed brightly as he roared. The power of a domain, or the ability to create time and space. These are also the profoundness of the Almighty. Su Yan had thoroughly comprehended the process of domain construction. He even had the power to imitate the Almighty and create time and space. This was also thanks to Su Yin naturally grasping the methods of the extraordinary sect. He had soared to the peak of the seventh grade domain. If not for the lack of a follow-up scripture, perhaps Su Yin would have gone even further. A heavenly deity could construct a complete domain and even create time and space. If this was spread out, who would dare to believe it? The current Su Yin could easily control a corner of the universe and suppress powerful enemies. However, this was not what Su Yin wanted. Of course, even if he grasped the domain, it was still impossible to suppress the four great supreme beings. Now, these four great supreme beings were really forced by Su Yin to the point of roaring. The four figures blazed brightly, collapsing the universe. They joined forces and crushed the world controlled by Su Yin, causing everything to fall into destruction. Boom! The heavenly beast waved its huge arm, which was as majestic as a mountain range. It suddenly smashed over. The energy contained was really too barbaric. It could easily crush tens of thousands of mountains and crush a heavenly deity with a single finger. However, Su Yan's state soared. His figure was magnificent, and he suddenly grew 100 times taller. He had comprehended the domain and used the supreme profundity of the universe to cause his body to expand rapidly. This was the great divine ability of the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. Su Yin turned into a giant and roared with his head held high. He was filled with shocking power. Boom! He waved his mountain-like fist and collided with the heavenly beast's fist. The two bombarded, causing the sky to collapse and the earth to split. Sand and stones flew everywhere. The energy waves roared and flooded a large area of the universe. Su Yin directly pounced. His figure was too huge. His head was the sky, and his feet stepped on the broken earth. He raised his big foot and stomped on the vermilion bird in an extremely violent manner. Ha ha! This is the power of a domain. It is really not a small matter. As Su Yin laughed, the mountains and rivers changed color. The sun and the moon resounded, and the void collapsed. This method was too domineering. The great divine ability evolved from the law embodiment of the universe allowed Su Yin to transform into a real giant god. Without a doubt, Su Yan's path to becoming a heavenly deity was further perfected. He stepped on the universe, and his figure was immeasurable, law embodiment of heaven and earth. Chi-chi. The vermilion bird spread its huge wings, burning with thousands of divine flames. It was blazing and surging, and it met the attack head-on. It collided with Su Yan's golden foot that was stomping down, causing the space-time here to be destroyed. Roar! In this world, the true dragon swooped down. Its body that spanned 100,000 miles danced, and it used the true dragon's tail swing. This was the power of the true dragon, which could be said to be the pinnacle of its generation. In an instant, the sky collapsed, and it crashed towards Su Yin. Kill! Su Yin roared. His body was like the universe, and he could swallow heaven, earth, sun, moon, and stars. He raised his huge hand and stretched forward. He tore open the space with his bare hands and instantly grabbed the true dragon's tail that was smashing toward him. At this moment, Su Yin went berserk. He rose up in the face of adversity and released the source of his greatest power. Roar! Su Yin let out a roar. The sound waves that were enough to make all living things explode contained the energy of the universe, and it caused the vast world to undulate and tremble. Whoosh! Su Yan's huge palm suddenly grabbed the true dragon's tail, and the true dragon that spanned 100,000 miles started to dance. It was as if he was dancing a huge mountain range, and it swept in all directions. Su Yin was too valiant. He fought the true dragon with his bare hands, and it was extremely terrifying. The huge true dragon was swung by him, and it smashed in all directions. It was an extremely shocking scene. Even the Kuan Peng was sent flying by the true dragon. Su Yin used the true dragon as a rod. Finally, he swung his arms, and the true dragon roared as it descended from the sky. Boom! Su Yin hugged the true dragon with both hands and directly smashed it toward the huge heavenly beast. It was a shocking scene. Even the heavenly beast was dizzy from being smashed by the true dragon. It staggered backward, and blood gushed out of its body. Su Yan's strength was unparalleled. He grabbed the true dragon with his bare hands, swung its body, and smashed it in all directions. In a short period of time, he actually suppressed the three supreme beings violently. Moreover, he was filled with an even stronger essence, energy, and spirit. He vaguely surpassed the supreme beings and stood among the kings of the universe. During the process, Su Yan's hands were constantly bleeding. This was because the true dragon's strength was too barbaric. Even though Su Yan's hands had grabbed the dragon's tail, the true dragon's strength had cracked the web between his thumb and index finger during the intense battle. His entire hand was about to be torn apart by the true dragon. Roar! All of a sudden, the furious true dragon roared. Terrifying energy flowed in its flesh shell. Its body, which was 100,000 miles long, shrunk to the size of an adult's arm. However, the strength it contained surged violently by a large margin. Su Yan's hands were cracked, and the blood in his body was boiling. However, he didn't have any time to think because the shrunken true dragon rushed over. Its aura engulfed the entire region, and it was ferocious. Kill! Su Yan let out a loud roar in the desperate situation. A terrifying will surged within his body. This was a kind of essence, energy, and spirit that he needed. This was also a kind of spiritual will that wanted to shatter the heavens and earth and turn the entire world upside down. Dong! He swung his fist and smashed it forward, colliding with the true dragon. This area was completely chaotic. Su Yan was bombarded by the true dragon's strength until he spat out blood. At the same time, the true dragon was also sent flying by Su Yan's fist, crushing a piece of broken ground. It was extremely ferocious. Swish, swish. At this moment, the Kuan Pong attacked. Its magic power was boundless, and its wings were like the clouds in the sky. It was too terrifying and filled with a terrifying aura. Roar! The huge heavenly beast also swung its arms. It was as if two huge pillars were collapsing from the sky, wanting to crush Su Yan. The vermilion bird was bathed in thousands of divine flames. It opened its mouth and spewed out strands of flames. It rolled down and wanted to burn Su Yan. Su Yan had encountered the cruelest attack in the face of absolute danger. The true dragon that was sent flying once again traversed the void and evolved the power of dragons. It was as if a peerless true dragon's secret technique was surging, wanting to destroy Su Yan. The pressure of a fourth-level supreme god was causing the immortal Tao substance in Su Yan's body to be almost exhausted. In the danger zone, an unyielding figure was roaring. He was bathed in blood and frenzied. Thousands of killing intent surged and resonated with the domain. I am the universe, containing thousands of Taos, transforming heaven and earth. I am the only god in this world. Su Yan's blood-stained body blazed. In an instant, all of his avatars returned and gathered in his body. In a short period of time, all of his energy returned to its original point, transforming into chaos and evolving all things in the universe. Wong! Su Yan's body glowed. His body seemed to contain the sun, the moon, the stars, the universe, and the earth. His body was like a domain of time and space, rippling with a monstrous might. At this moment, Su Yan seemed to be ascending to the king realm. Ah! He roared at the sky. His blood-stained hair danced wildly, and his aura was monstrous. Whoosh! His figure streaked across the sky like the only true god in the world, looking down at the world with disdain. Kill! Su Yan let out a loud roar. Killing intent surged in his eyes. In an instant, he punched out. It was as if an eternal true god had appeared, punching out a brand new Su Yan. In the process, he was infinitely grand. He was really like the carrier of the universe, swallowing the sun, the moon, and the stars. He was extremely domineering. The oncoming Kuan Pong was sent flying. Its body was stained with blood as it suffered a fatal blow. It fell between the mountains, and its huge flesh shell was filled with cracks. The vermilion bird that was burning with divine flames was shaken off. The vermilion bird's divine flames were about to be extinguished. This huge heavenly beast fell straight to the ground. It couldn't withstand the terrifying impact. The peerless punch had penetrated its chest, creating a huge hole. Although the true dragon, the strongest of the four supreme beings, had withstood it, its body was already riddled with holes. Large amounts of dragon scales had fallen off. It was heavily injured. Chapter 1144. In this shattered world, Su Yin breathed heavily, his chest rising and falling intensely. In the end, his legs suddenly went weak, one knee kneeling on the ground. Even though he was exhausted to the extreme, his knee still crushed the earth until it split into pieces. Blood flowed from the corners of Su Yan's lips, messy hair scattering down, covering his sorry state. Su Yan's aura declined to the extreme. This fist exhausted all of his divine force, but of course his aura was still full of the style of an unmatched overlord, making this heaven and earth rivers and mountains lose their luster. Just a while ago, Su Yin established a terrifying secret method, the same as attacking one's most powerful source of life, attacking the enemy. Ah ha ha ha. Su Yin was laughing. In the end, he raised his head, looking towards the blood-colored heavens, releasing great laughter, just that carefree and unrestrained. Su Yin finally got what he wanted, slaughtering his way into the heavens, perfecting his heavenly deity realm foundations, integrating all Tao methods, turning them into the most powerful fist. For an entire 5 years, he fought a bloody battle of life and death. He endured the cruel training here. Su Yin crawled out from pools of blood time and time again, his essence energy rising day by day, transforming day by day. In the end, at this moment, he stood at the peak, a fist erupting, seriously injuring the four great creatures, moreover opening up a path to the heavens, a great door to the king level. 5 years. He stood up weakly, his blood-dyed hair flying about chaotically, his tattered clothes fluttering about. His body released an iron-blooded and domineering aura. He stood on the blood-colored ruined earth like an undying war god, raising his head and roaring. Hum! Suddenly, the four seriously injured creatures roared, crawling out from pools of blood, rushing towards Su Yin. They were still powerful. Even though they were seriously injured, they were still extremely shocking, all of them overflowing with blood energy, vicious energy roiling, tearing apart the world, attacking Su Yin. They were like four great unmatched war spirits, stirring up this blood-colored hurricane, roiling and surging. Su Yin had declined to the extreme. If it was in the past, he might have died, or he might have used the immortal Tao material. However, things were different now. Su Yan's battered body was burning with the remaining immortal matter. Purple divine energy surged with immortal essence, restoring Su Yan's battered body at lightning speed. Boom! An unrivaled war god once again revived. He brandished his fist, his aura devouring the heavens, piercing through great regions and looking down on everything. With a single punch, a corner of the universe seemed to have disappeared and transformed into a terrifying figure. It was like the only eternal true god in the world, a sovereign that looked down on the world. Kill! Su Yin roared loudly. His body was like a true dragon, burning fiercely. His aura instantly smashed forward murderously, collapsing everything. It was extremely powerful and domineering, blasting the four great creatures flying again. The true dragon with the most severe injuries finally let out a sorrowful roar. Its body collapsed on its own, turning into a true dragon supreme chi that floated between heaven and earth, on the verge of dissipating. Su Yin fiercely inhaled, swallowing this true dragon energy into his abdomen. At this moment, Su Yin bathed in the true dragon energy, comprehending a type of ancient, grand, exceptional, and magnificent power. His body seemed to have turned into an azure dragon, looking down on heaven and earth and the starry skies, overlooking the 8 desolate lands. ruling the world. 1. Su Yan's weak body once again blazed with brilliance, the essence blood within his body surging. He was clearly a bit different from before. If it was before, Su Yan's body would have been overflowing with supreme qi, but now, it was as if he had returned to his original state. The physique energy released by his constitution was completely turned into nutrients in Su Yan's body, nourishing his body. After all, he had created a method that integrated all energy, turning it into a body like the universe. Su Yan's aura soared, filled with a type of terrifying power. He quickly chased over, raising his large hand, fiercely slapping towards the heavily injured Kuan Peng. This Kuan Peng, with monstrous magical power, finally disintegrated, turning into the essence of the Kuan Peng. It was absorbed by Su Yan, causing his aura to soar once again. These 4 supreme life forms were one after another killed by Su Yan's tyrannical methods. When he swallowed the life forms of the 4 supreme life forms, Su Yan's aura was wild to the extreme. A type of terrifying power emerged, as if it had engulfed the entire broken earth, dominating the entire world. Boom! He was like the king of the universe, rising from the ground and suppressing the entire world. This type of indescribable aura leaked out, causing the scene of space collapsing. It startled many vicious beasts that were still alive, causing them to tremble and directly submit at his feet. His body was grand, filled with the power to swallow the universe. Let's call it the universal fist, Su Yan secretly said in his heart. He had comprehended an absolute art. Although one would decline under the eruption of power, this absolute art was something that Su Yan had finally comprehended after experiencing countless life and death trials. Su Yan sat cross-legged on the ground. After experiencing life and death for so many years, he knew that he had to recover from his injuries as soon as possible and maintain his peak strength. Only then would he be able to survive. Although he knew that he had already killed his way into the depths of the bloody earth, who knew whether or not there were other trials here? Therefore, he had to recover as soon as possible and maintain his peak strength to face the trials. However, Su Yan felt that this should be the end. Even a heaven-defying existence like a true dragon had jumped out. So what other trials could there be in this land of death? Even if there were trials, Su Yan was not afraid. Now that he had created his own invincible path, breaking through the divine king wasn't difficult for him at all. As long as he was willing, he could quickly penetrate into the divine king's domain. As for the cruel trials of the heavenly deity realm, Su Yan had absolute confidence that he could break through them. Buzz! After spending 3 days and 3 nights, Su Yan recovered from his injuries. He was full of vigor, as if he had obtained a new life. His body was constantly rippling with the universe's aura. This was a kind of supreme, heavenly might that affected the world, making it indeterminate. He carried out a search here, surveying the entire land of blood. Su Yan already couldn't find a single creature that he could fight. In the boundless broken earth, Su Yan was already invincible in this space-time. He walked between the mountains and rivers, crossing the vast rivers and mountains as he surveyed the world. In the end, Su Yan discovered a different zone. There weren't any corpses here, so it should be the pure land of the broken world. Su Yan crossed over to the center. In the pure land, he saw another tunnel. This made Su Yan clench his fist tightly. Crossing over to the center, was it the end or the beginning? Has the trial of the gate of death ended? I wonder what I will encounter next. Will there be even more cruel trials? Su Yan didn't hesitate. He entered the space-time tunnel. He was especially looking forward to what he would encounter next. For a total of 5 years, Su Yan had experienced 5 dark, bloody years. No one knew what he had encountered in the Hell's Palace, and no one knew what Su Yan had endured. However, in the end, he had slaughtered his way out and was invincible in the Hell's Palace. It's been 5 years. Su Xianren most likely won't return. In the ancient Chaos ruins, some people looked back and then looked at the majestic Chaos Pagoda. They sighed. The Hall of Hell has buried too many geniuses. Now that the Golden Age has begun, without Su Xianren, it feels like something is missing. Even if Su Xianren comes out alive, what can he change? The times have changed. 99% of the geniuses are dim, and he is no exception. Now, there are only a few people who are riding the glory of the Golden Age. I think that in a few years, these terrifying young people will step into the realm of Almighty. Yes, back in the day, Song Tian used 5 years to break through 4 heaven's gates. If the immortal graveyard hadn't opened, then Song Tian would have stepped into the 5th heaven's gate. Perhaps when he came out, he would already be an almighty powerhouse. However, Song Tian's achievements are terrifying. Yes, I think the Sky Bamboo bloodline must have grasped a prehistoric inheritance. In addition, Song Tian's physique has been nourished to perfection by the heavenly Tao Stone. His Song Tian is already dominating the immortal graveyard. In the Chaos Pagoda, the group of old sect leaders gathered there left. Because of the opening of the immortal graveyard, all the geniuses of the world left the Chaos Pagoda. Without a doubt, the words of the 9th son of Chaos had come true. The lives of all the geniuses of the world were as cheap as paper. This was a cruel reality. Now, in the immortal graveyard where all the heroes of the universe gathered, there were only a few people who looked down on all the geniuses of the world. The people of the world had come from a small environment to a large one. The geniuses who were once proud have appeared very weak in a large environment. They were congenitally deficient, and their former glory had faded away. Some of the young overlords had lost their fighting spirit because of this and were depressed. There were also some geniuses who refused to admit defeat, who were risking their lives to enter the immortal graveyard. They hoped to obtain some opportunities and obtain some prehistoric inheritances. They hoped to rise up in the flourishing age and catch up with the times. But this was very difficult. The immortal graveyard had only been open for half a year. It could be said that rivers of blood flowed and mountains of corpses were piled up. The young overlords who roamed the primal chaos ruins in the past could no longer be found in the various lands of fortune. Only a few children of taboo and descendants of ancient lineages could stand firm. They were currently collecting fortunes in the immortal graveyard. Boom! Tao Palace. Since the opening of the immortal graveyard, large groups of disciples had left in succession. Now, a loud explosion rang out, shaking the heavens and earth. As if rooted in a bamboo forest in the depths of time and space, layers of silver divine light rushed out, striking many of the halls in the Tao Palace and causing them to shine on their own. Someone is coming out from the forbidden area. Vice Dean Jean Yu's figure arrived in the depths of the Tao Palace. When he saw the source, he was bewildered. "Ha ha ha, I'm finally back." Loud laughter rang out, as if it was an old monster that had been trapped for 10,000 years. It let out a series of shrieks, causing Vice Principal Jean Yu to feel goosebumps all over his body. He felt a chill in his heart. This laughter was too treacherous. Soon, he saw a big rooster rush out. Its whole body was covered in bright silver feathers. Some golden feathers grew on its once bald head, making it look like a flowering branch. "It's you," Vice Dean Jean Yu stared. Back then, he brought Iron Rooster from the bipolar star. This Iron Rooster's identity was very mysterious. He could actually come and go as he pleased in the forbidden area. Although he didn't know who Iron Rooster was, because of the forbidden area, Iron Rooster's status in the Tao Palace was very high. Iron Rooster looked at Vice Dean Jean Yu with his beady eyes. This made him feel even more disgusted. He said angrily, "What do you want now?" Back then, you took away the Universe Bridge and Universe Clock to help the Buried Region race. That was already a violation of the Tao Palace's rules. You even impersonated me. Vice Dean Jean Yu was so angry that he blew his beard and glared. If it was because of his special identity, he would have hung him up and interrogated him. Iron Rooster put his wings on his back and raised his head. He looked very imposing. He glanced at Vice Dean Jean Yu and snorted. "It's your fortune to impersonate you. Speak. Where's that old man who made things difficult for my brother back then?" "So, it was you back then." Vice Dean Jean Yu's face darkened. Then, he frowned, not knowing where to start. "What's wrong?" Iron Rooster's expression changed slightly. He had an ominous feeling in his heart. Su Yin has gone to the Hall of Hell. Vice Dean Genius sighed. It's been 5 years. I don't think the result will be good. Half a year ago, when the immortal graveyard opened, his friends didn't fare well. Even the immeasurable body fell. Chapter 1145. What did you say? The miser's expression changed drastically. Originally, he was in a great mood after coming out of seclusion and felt that the world was exceptionally fascinating. But now, the heavens and earth seemed somewhat gloomy in front of him. He cried out involuntarily. Su Yin went to the Hall of Earth? Tensor is dead. Vice Dean Jean nodded solemnly. Then, his expression changed to one of astonishment when he saw that the big rooster's aura was somewhat frightening. His entire body was surging with silver light and rippling with an astonishing, ferocious aura that caused the entire universe to rumble. The miser's aura leaked out as the phantom of a giant phoenix appeared behind him. It was peerlessly powerful as it overlooked the universe. What a terrifying entity. Is he a hermit expert from our Tao Church? Why is he so angry? The expressions of many experts from the Tao Church changed drastically. At this moment, the miser was extremely powerful. He was like a supreme entity that had awakened from time and space, overlooking the universe and the starry skies. There was an ancient pressure that caused some of the Tao Church's elders to tremble incessantly. However, they had never seen the miser before and had no idea who he was. The Hall of Earth. The miser's feathers stood on end. He knew all too well what the Hall of Earth was like. Who could come out alive from there? The Hall of Earth was known as the cruelest trial in the universe. However, Su Yin had actually gone to the Hall of Earth. Even after 5 whole years, it was still unknown whether he was dead or alive. This fellow has gone mad. The miser roared. However, he felt a wave of sadness in his heart and was in low spirits. With Su Yin's potential, he might be able to survive. Vice Dean Jinyu's tone was gloomy as he said, although the chances are slim, there's still some hope that he can come out alive. Who killed Tensor? The miser's body was burning with silver flames as he thought back to some old friends. They had been life and death brothers in the past. He immediately became furious and said, was it someone from the Valley of Chaos? It's not just the chaotic valley. Su Yin had quite a few enemies in the past. Ever since the immortal graveyard opened, those people haven't had a good time, being targeted everywhere. Vice Principal Jinyu smiled bitterly and said, even my disciple, E.C. Yun of the Burial Realm race, who has the ancient Great Moon Saint body, came to help. However, Qiu Ming is already an absolute king. He is very close to becoming an almighty. Even my disciple was injured by him. At this point, Jin Yu's face darkened. E.C. Yun's injuries should be very serious. After all, when she tried to intercept Qiu Ming, although E.C. Yun's combat strength was strong, her realm was too low. She was no match for Qiu Ming and was severely injured. Bastard, hurry up and prepare a space-time tunnel for me. I want to go to the immortal graveyard. Isn't that just being a supreme king? Kill them all. The miser's blood boiled with anger. It turned out that his good mood after coming out of seclusion had been completely destroyed. A group of old friends were facing a life and death situation. This made the miser extremely angry and was prepared to help them for a day. Hearing this, Vice Principal Jinyu shook his head and said, at the beginning of the immortal graveyard, there is a terrifying pressure of laws. Entering the immortal graveyard in your state, you won't survive at all. Right now, the only thing that can change the situation is Su Yin coming out of the Hall of Hell alive, Vice Principal Jinyu said, but I don't know if Su Yin can adapt to the environment of the immortal graveyard. Come out alive? Stingy Rooster was like a deflated balloon. He said in a gloomy tone, even if he can come out alive, 5 years is impossible. He needs at least 10 years. But after 10 years, will those people still be able to hold on? The Hall of Hell was like a nightmare world, a land of death that could not be broken through. Su Yin had fought a bloody battle for 5 whole years, killing until the heavens collapsed and the earth cracked. In the end, he was invincible in the world. Even a heaven-defying creature like a true dragon was killed by him. What else could stop Su Yin? Now that he had entered the space-time tunnel, although he did not know what he would face next, Su Yin really did not care about the test. He had already walked his own path of invincibility and created an ultimate technique that was equivalent to a forbidden secret technique. No matter how difficult the test was, Su Yin was confident that he could forcefully pass through it. The space-time tunnel was not big at first, but the deeper he went, the more vast the space became. Su Yin's body was full of the smell of blood. His clothes were messy and his hair was disheveled. He was a warrior who had crawled out of hell. His expression was cold, and he could recover his peak combat strength at any time to deal with all variables. He had already done it. He could deal with all changes by remaining unchanged. He could crush any evil with a punch. Su Yan's spiritual perception was sharp. From the moment he stepped into the tunnel, he did not sense any danger. Back then, he had died several times. Now, even if he was facing a more brutal crisis, Su Yin still had an invincible heart. He would forcefully pass through it. It looks like there's no danger here. It should be the ultimate land of creation. I wonder what the land of creation of the Hell Hall will be like. Su Yan's silent and cold heart had some warmth. When he reached the end of the tunnel and arrived at a colorful world, Su Yin finally relaxed. It's been 5 years. I finally have something. Ha ha. Su Yan's emotions surged. This was what he desired. The space he was in was filled with endless vitality. The universe's origins, energy, and billions of strands of the mysterious yellow root were spewing out. The shocking scene was indescribable. No matter what material or treasure in the universe, it could compare to the creation here. This was because the mysterious yellow root was filled with the universe's origins energy. This was a heaven-defying creation. It was an immortal paradise that even mighty figures would go crazy for. The origins of the universe were equal to the universe's life. Although Su Yin didn't understand why the origins of the universe existed in large quantities in the Chaos Tower, this was what Su Yin desired. He roared, and his dormant constitution was awakened and burned fiercely. Su Yan's natal weapon was awakened. It vibrated on its own and wanted to bathe in the origins of the universe. The mysterious yellow root was not only effective for Su Yin, but also for any material. If his natal weapon was nourished by the origins of the universe, it would certainly become stronger. Let's begin. As Su Yin charged in, he first had to endure the terrifying pressure of the mysterious yellow roots. His body was in danger of exploding because these mysterious yellow roots were too heavy. Even if there were only a dozen of them, they were still heavier than billions of pounds. It was really shocking. Su Yan's body could barely withstand the pressure at the edge. At this moment, he directly released his constitution and got close to the charm of the mysterious yellow root. In the blink of an eye, Su Yin perceived an indescribable great Tao of the origins of the universe, as if he were in contact with the entire universe. Su Yan's heart trembled. First of all, he was certain that the mysterious yellow root, the origins of the universe, existed in prehistory. This is a complete great Tao origin from prehistory. It's not incomplete. Su Yan's pupils were as bright as torches. This was too important. This was the most complete universe. Bathing in the mysterious yellow root would mean receiving the best training in prehistory. Su Yan's constitution was already shining uncontrollably. He was about to bathe in the mysterious yellow root and grow to perfect all his shortcomings and flaws. I wonder how Tensor and Baokai are doing. Su Yin suddenly murmured, "It's been 5 years. How are you? Has Master Yi Yuan returned from the barbaric mountain? Also, has the deity graveyard been opened? Bamboo Moon, have you become a divine king?" 5 years was a very long time for Su Yin. He recalled many old friends and suddenly had a very strong urge to leave this place quickly. He wanted to go out and take a look. He wanted to reunite with his friends. In a certain valley in the deity graveyard, a graceful figure fell down. Her clothes were stained with blood, and she looked exhausted. There was a hint of sorrow on her beautiful face, and her originally brilliant eyes had dimmed. She murmured, "Damned brat, hiding in the hell hall. Why didn't he come out sooner? My lady." There were a few maids in the secluded valley with extraordinary looks and strength. They hurriedly went up to help Zhu Yu up. One of the maids couldn't help but whisper, "My lady, you have a noble status and are known as a peerless king." Even if you have a deep relationship with Su Yin is now. There were some things that they didn't want to say. Bamboo Moon and Su Yin had a deep relationship, but Su Yin had more or less fallen in the Temple of Hell. It had been 5 years. Could he continue to create miracles? Shut up. Bamboo Moon's face turned cold. She didn't believe that Su Yin would fall silent just like that. She had always believed that he would return from hell. "My lady, you've helped Su Yan's brothers many times. You've already done everything you can." The maids begged. The 3 scions of primal chaos have said that they want everyone related to Su Yin to die without a grave. Once they find out about your identity, it'll be terrible. Moreover, there's a faint aura of a mighty figure in Xiao Ming's place of seclusion. He's about to break through. Bamboo Moon's face was cold. Once Xiao Ming stepped into the realm of a mighty figure, would Do Li and the others be able to survive? Even if Xiao Ming didn't do anything, the 3 scions of primal chaos wouldn't give up. Back then, they had lost too much face in the Chaos Tower. When the deity graveyard opened, they had said that they wanted anyone related to Su Yin to die without a grave. Back then, he encountered all kinds of dangers and enemies. Even the 3 scions were forced out. I don't think the Hall of Hell can trap him. He'll definitely come out. Bamboo Moon clenched her slender hands tightly. Her pale face surged with hope. She really wanted Su Yin to come out quickly. She wanted to see him turn the tide and rewrite the current situation of the deity graveyard. Bamboo Moon knew that this was a high expectation, but she felt that Su Yin could still create a miracle. After all, there were too many impossible things in the past, but in front of Su Yin, they became possible. "My lady," the maids wanted to say something, but in the end, they didn't know what to say. They felt that Bamboo Moon thought too highly of Su Yin. What kind of place was the Hall of Hell? Who could come out alive? Even if he, Su Yin, came out alive, would he be able to block his 3rd son, who had exceptional combat strength? Although Su Yin had once done something earth-shattering, and the 3 scions working together couldn't keep Su Yin in check, it was different now. Ever since the deity graveyard opened, their combat strength had grown stronger by the day. They had cultivated to a point that made others despair. Bamboo Moon was a peerless genius who had walked out of Sky Bamboo Mountain and stepped into the King Realm. She was already terrifying enough. Even the mighty figures of Sky Bamboo were full of praise. However, the 3 scions were all shockingly talented. They had drifted through the ages for millions of years. Now that their glory had arrived, they were truly powerful. I feel uneasy. I have to get out as soon as possible. In the Land of Fortune in the Hall of Hell, Su Yin let go of his body and mind. He had already reached the most critical moment in his contact with the Xianwang root. He tried his best to calm his Tao heart. Thinking too much was useless. He had to find a way to leave the Hall of Hell as soon as possible. Chapter 1146. Strands of Xianwang roots filled with the energy waves of the universe's origin. Each of them was extremely precious, an opportunity that grand cultivators couldn't even dream of. Those Xianwang roots were also extremely heavy and could easily crush celestial gods. Even the Divine King's body might not be able to bear it. Su Yin endured great danger to guide the Xianwang roots into his body. At this moment, Su Yan's physical body was blazing to the extreme, as if the furnace of the universe was burning. He felt as if he had swallowed true dragons. His entire body was filled with excruciating pain. Who could swallow the energy of the universe's origin since ancient times? It was very difficult, even for grand cultivators. The Xianwang roots existed in the magnificence of the universe. Once they were swallowed, they would easily be threatened with death. However, Su Yin was different. His body was very special, and he had the abnormal ability to swallow energy substances. The Xianwang roots that looked like true dragons drilled deep into his body. Under the stimulation of the Xianwang roots, Su Yan's body was burning fiercely. Su Yin let out a roar because his body was trembling violently and was about to explode. Blood was spurting out of his pores. He looked very miserable. Even his hard bones couldn't bear the weight of the Xianhuang roots and were about to shatter one by one. The process was very painful. His body was about to be destroyed and dispersed by the universe's origin. Once he couldn't bear it, his body and soul would be obliterated and reduced to ashes by the power of the universe, leaving nothing behind. First of all, the Xianhuang roots contained boundless vitality, which was enough to destroy Su Yan's body. The Xianhuang roots were filled with the universe's origin, which could crush everything. Even grand cultivators were no exception. The universe's origin? That was a law that only grand cultivators could master. Now, that Su Yan was guiding the Xianhuang roots, it was equivalent to guiding the energy of a grand cultivator into his body. One could imagine how painful it would be. It would crush Su Yan's soul. I need it. You're just some material. Don't tell me I can't refine you. Su Yan let out a ferocious roar. 5 years of bloody battles. What had he not experienced? Now that he had come into contact with an unimaginable fortune, it was already within his reach. How could he give up because of this danger? His body rumbled as if it had been smashed by millions of stars. If it wasn't for Su Yan's tough body, he would have long since collapsed. Some fortunes were too amazing. Even if one obtained them, they might not necessarily be able to enjoy them. Now, Su Yan was facing the great danger of his body exploding. He really felt that he couldn't hold on any longer. Every inch of his flesh and blood was about to be torn apart, and every bone was about to break apart. I am a universe. Su Yan raised his head and roared, extremely ferocious. In an instant, he circulated his heavenly arts. At the same time, Su Yan's body rapidly enlarged and turned into a giant. This was the state of the lawful embodiment of heaven and earth. Su Yan's body rapidly expanded until it was as large and mighty as a mountain. From this moment onwards, Su Yan's body surged with terrifying airflow. Once the body as the universe was activated, Su Yan's 4 limbs were like the 4 poles of the universe. His blood was like a river of stars, his bones were like mountains, and his organs were like vast oceans. His body contained a mouthful of primal chaos origin chi. Su Yan had even comprehended the cosmic fist. Naturally, his comprehension of the body as the universe in the opening chapter of the Beginning Sutra was extremely deep. Now, his body was like the space and time of the universe. It was so deep that it was difficult to explore. He temporarily suppressed the abnormal threat of the mysterious yellow root. At the same time, he used the power of the Beginning Sutra to refine the vast energy of the mysterious yellow root. Time passed by bit. The giant Su Yan's life essence surged as all energy returned to his flesh shell and blossomed. When his aura soared to the extreme, it seemed as though it would explode at any moment. There was a kind of vague fluctuation of the divine king flowing about. The supreme foundation within Su Yan's body was about to blast open the firmament and become a true king. Su Yan already had an overall concept of the divine king realm. He also had the foundation for a breakthrough. Now, all the foundations he had cultivated were returning to his body and were vibrating at the same time. It was enough to tear apart the divine king's door. But now that he had encountered the mysterious yellow root, Su Yan naturally wouldn't break through so easily. Now his aura had soared to the extreme. It was as though the divine king's furnace was burning and refining the numerous mysterious yellow roots within his body. The process was too slow. Su Yan was a little worried. If this went on for a long time, he might not be able to bear it. Could it be that I have to break through to the godly king realm in order to resist the suppression of the mysterious yellow? Su Yan frowned. However, once he did so, he would lose an opportunity to evolve into the strongest godly king. I'll try blowing it up. If it doesn't work. Su Yan pulled himself together and worked hard to refine the mysterious yellow root. Then, his expression changed slightly. That was because the natural ability in Su Yan's chest suddenly bloomed. His chest glowed and was filled with reincarnation fluctuations. There seemed to be a tiny golden person sitting inside, expounding the profundities of reincarnation. At this moment, the tiny person was revived. It opened its eyes and swallowed fiercely. This is... Su Yin was pleasantly surprised. His natural ability was evolving on its own. The mysterious yellow root was the universe's origin and was enough for his natural ability to evolve. Sure enough, it devoured strand after strand of black and yellow roots. The entire golden little figure became much more brilliant, suffused with a type of terrifying heavenly might, a type of supreme reincarnation fluctuation. It suddenly seemed as if a reincarnation universe was opened up, operating within its chest. Ha ha ha! Su Yin laughed. Once his natural ability evolved, its power would definitely increase greatly. Previously, his natural ability hadn't evolved enough. Although he had swallowed the 6 paths reincarnation fruit's origin, Su Yin couldn't bear to eat the fruit. He hoped that it would be helpful to his prehistoric big brother. Now, under the nourishment of the universe's origin, the reincarnation divine ability had increased greatly. It was filled with an even more profound reincarnation Tao energy. This was something that Su Yin had a hard time grasping because the Tao and technique that it existed in was too terrifying. Even a powerful being would have a hard time understanding it. Now, the reincarnation divine ability's power had increased greatly. When this secret technique's energy spread out and covered Su Yan's body, his aura was filled with a terrifying reincarnation force. Pung! At this moment, the mysterious yellow roots in his body shattered one after another. They turned into the purest mysterious yellow origin and sprinkled into Su Yan's body. Like the growth of all living things, like the spring bamboo after the rain. In short, Su Yin felt like he was coming back from the dead. This was a very special feeling. It was as if Su Yin had been dead for a long time. His body had also withered for a long time. Now, under the nourishment of the universe's origin, Su Yan's body was finally revived. Boom! There was a thunderous explosion. Su Yan's body emitted a dazzling light that pierced through the sky. It was as if the universe's carrier had been revived from a deep sleep. In the process, the whole area was evaporated into a black hole. It was an extremely terrifying manifestation. Countless mysterious yellow roots gathered in Su Yan's shell, maturing his body. Infinite divine light burst out of his body, rippling with the supreme power of heaven. Su Yan let out a long roar. The world rumbled and time and space fluctuated. His body was revived, surging with a terrifying divine power that was even more turbulent than an ocean. It surged between the sky and the earth, as if it was going to collapse the mountains and split the seas. Terrifying and powerful, he was like the mother body of the universe. His supreme fighting strength was blazing and overflowing. With a raise of his hand, the world roared. A corner of the universe pressed down and penetrated Su Yan's body, making his body seem like the universe was perfected. Su Yan's body released a terrifying wave of the universe. He was completely different. He was really like the carrier of the universe. This is the body of the universe. Su Yan's mind was in turmoil. When his body was revived, it was as if he had become one with the universe. He had an illusion that his body was like the universe, or rather, the universe was his. This was an extremely different manifestation. All of a sudden, his aura was so terrifying that he could be called a peerless king. Su Yin hadn't stepped into the divine king's realm yet, but now he had perfected everything and nourished his body with the mysterious yellow roots. In the end, Su Yan's path to becoming a heavenly deity was much more majestic. His body was like the universe. The pores all over his body glowed, gushing with multicolored light and releasing the power of the universe. The body of the universe, the revival of all things. Su Yin murmured. His body's aura was changing and a vast aura of vitality emerged. For a moment, his body was vast and his body contained the universe. The combat power he unleashed was unimaginable. However, when Su Yan's aura soared to a certain extent, his body vaguely produced the power of a king. There was no doubt that Su Yin was about to break through. However, he forcefully suppressed the breakthrough of his body. If he broke through there, the Divine King's thunder tribulation wouldn't appear at all. This realm was too important. Su Yin wanted to break through in the deity graveyard and receive the baptism of the complete universe. Besides, Su Yin had more important things to do at the moment. He was bathing in the mysterious yellow roots and the origin of the universe. Su Yin felt the magnificence of a universe, which was an unreachable energy. Now, he was immersed in the silence and deeply comprehending the charm of the universe. He was comprehending the origin, which was equivalent to observing the entire universe. That was the greatest fortune, an opportunity that even the grand cultivators wouldn't dare to imagine. Perhaps only the taboo ones were qualified to touch such a magical realm. Su Yin couldn't have done it alone, but it was different with the origin of the universe. His Divine King's primordial spirit was immersed in the vast origin of the universe. It was like a boat gliding in the magnificent ocean, comprehending the mysteries of the universe and its wonders and greatness. If he could gain something and break through to the Divine King level, it would be really impressive. Su Yin could even take the opportunity to peek into the mysteries of the Grand Cultivator's domains, which would pave the way for him to become a Grand Cultivator in the future. Children of taboo, ancestral marks, hidden young kings. They've been floating in different eras because they want to peek into the changes of the universe and its environment. It's impossible for a cultivator to complete such a magnificent project in his lifetime. This universe's origin is like a cheating device to me now. I can finish what they have accumulated over millions of years in a short period of time. Moreover, what I see is a complete universe. Can I call it the Xianhuan universe? Chapter 1147. In a certain part of the immortal graveyard, the sounds of battle shook the heavens. The seventh son of primal chaos had come back from the dead. His entire body burned with 9-colored heavenly flames that interweaved together to form a heavenly flame of primal chaos. It was filled with a scorching heat that could destroy the heavens and extinguish the earth. Against the backdrop of the primal chaos flames, the seventh son of primal chaos appeared especially valiant. What did you run off to? We said a long time ago that everyone related to the dead Su Yin must die. The seventh son said coldly. He would never forget being beaten to death by Su Xianren in the primal chaos pagoda's trial space. Su Xianren had even humiliated him by using his corpse to trade for immortal Dao materials. Now that he had come back from the dead, he vowed to cripple all experts related to Su Yin. You piece of trash! If it weren't for the difference in cultivation level, how could you suppress me? Also, you still have the face to mention Su Yin. Back then, the three of you joined forces, but Su Yin still beat you like 3 dogs. Ha ha! Yuan laughed angrily, his mouth spitting out boundless ripples. The boundless sea of trees trembled and collapsed, endless leaves flying wildly. His aura was too fierce. After returning from the Savage Mountain, his battle prowess had increased explosively, and he could directly contend with the seventh son. Although he was suppressed, it was definitely because of the difference in cultivation level. The world suspected that among Su Yan's brothers, Yuan should have obtained a prehistoric supreme Dao orthodoxy. Otherwise, how could he contend with the seventh son of primal chaos? Su Yin, that dead man, don't mention him to disgust me. If he hadn't fallen into the Hall of Earth, his fate would have been just as miserable as yours. The seventh son's face was vaguely sinister as he said coldly, I'm tired of this game of cat and mouse. It will soon be completely over. Let's see how many times you can escape. Although the seventh son didn't know who it was that had stood up and blocked the other two, how long could Yuan and the others hold out? The current Yuan was already riddled with scars. Previously, when he was suppressed by the seventh son, he was heavily injured and almost died. The seventh son valued him so much because the Valley of Primal Chaos wanted to obtain Yuan's inheritance. It was a mystery that Yuan was able to grow to such a level in such a short period of time. Other than Su Yin and the others, no one else knew that Yuan had returned to the Savage Mountains to cultivate. He had been in seclusion for 5 years and had obtained a great fortune, allowing him to rise up completely. Haha, I think you guys are afraid of Su Yan. Just wait, he will come back, and that will be your nightmare. Yuan laughed nastily. He used the boundary-breaking talisman to escape from the battlefield. He was very clear that it was Bamboo Moon who had interfered with the two of them. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to last until now. Bastard! Even if Su Yan is still alive, when he comes out and sees all of you defeated, Su Yan will also be a stray dog. The seventh son of primal chaos angrily glared. His heart was filled with a bone-chilling cold. But every time he thought of Su Yan, he couldn't help but shiver. The seventh son of primal chaos had once suffered a crushing defeat at the hands of Su Yan. This was a bloody fact, although they felt that their defeat in the past was due to other reasons. The crushing defeat in the primal chaos pagoda's trial space 5 years ago had nearly become a sore point in their hearts. If they didn't eliminate Su Yan, they would never be able to remove this sore point. Wang. The boundary-breaking talisman brought Yuan to another world. Yuan's injuries were severe. He roared out, "I want to live." Live. Yuan's eyes emitted a monstrous, ominous light. He wanted to live, otherwise the efforts of those who had helped him would be wasted. He swallowed precious pills one after another. As the medicinal efficacies spread out, surging medicinal efficacies began to nourish his wounded body. During this process, Yuan rapidly recovered. Luckily, I have these pills. Otherwise, it would have been difficult for me to survive this time. These pills had miraculous healing effects. They had come from Liang Yan. Although Yuan didn't know who this woman was, he guessed that she was definitely related to Su Yan. They had a great relationship. Otherwise, she wouldn't have taken a risk to give them pills in such a dangerous situation. "Tensor, my brother, could it be that he has died like this?" Yuan suddenly roared out, his eyes blood red. He was a tough man who didn't fear death. But now he wanted to cry. Tensor hadn't even cultivated to the divine king realm. Could it be that he had really perished? At that time, he and Dali had fought against Xiao Ming together. According to the news, some people had seen Tensor being killed by Xiao Ming with their own eyes. Tensor's broken body fell into the abyss. It was very likely that his body and soul had been destroyed. Yuan's whole body trembled. He tried to calm down the murderous intent in his heart. He also knew that if Yun hadn't blocked Xiao Ming, Dali wouldn't have survived. And Baokai has fallen into a life and death impasse. I don't know if he's dead or alive. Yuan was in a very bad mood. He and his brothers had once looked down on the reincarnation universe with disdain. They had been extremely heroic and had been revered by the people of the world. Now, Su Yan was trapped in the Earth Palace. They had been separated long ago and couldn't reunite with their brothers. "No!" Yuan suddenly crawled up and roared toward the sky. "I can't be crippled. I have to stand up and find them." Su Yan suddenly fell in the Earth Palace. As the strongest of the younger generation of the burial realm, we can't be dispirited just like that. I have to pull myself together and carve out a piece of the sky. His whole body emitted a martial aura. He had once been a martial god on Earth, but now he was the divine king. He had also obtained a great opportunity in the Savage Mountain. He didn't believe he couldn't beat the master of primal chaos and the others. Time flew by slowly. In the blink of an eye, another month had passed. The bloody stench of the immortal graveyard had dispersed quite a bit. News about the immortal graveyard spread throughout the major regions, but it wasn't good. News of the young seeds nurtured by the various great sects being defeated continuously spread out. Is this the flourishing age? Some of the sect masters of the great sects began to sigh because they suddenly felt that the flourishing age was very small and especially cruel. 99% of the prodigies were defeated, which made people sigh. Su Shinran's friends are also facing a cruel crisis. The flourishing age really doesn't exist. Only a few of them can look down on the universe. That's right. Actually, I've always been conflicted. If Su Xianren didn't go to the Earth Palace back then, who knows what he would have faced? Would he have risen or returned to peace? In the vast, flourishing age, too many races had lost hope. They didn't want to listen to the battle reports from all over the immortal graveyard anymore. Although they knew that the immortal graveyard was a land of fortune, there were news of rare resources being unearthed all day long. There were even reports of prehistoric inheritances emerging. However, this immortal graveyard seemed very small. It was just a small pond that belonged to an extremely small number of people. Some of the defeated young overlords had even lost their confidence and returned to the Primal Chaos Pagoda. The Primal Chaos Pagoda was rarely lively. Some people couldn't help but recall Su Xianren, who had disappeared for 5 or 6 years. Was he still alive in the Earth Palace? Or perhaps he had already become a corpse? Now, no one could guess what Su Yan had encountered. The Primal Chaos Pagoda was also very mysterious. Even though Su Yan had fought bloody battles in the Earth Palace for 5 whole years, he still didn't know how many trials there were in the Earth Palace, let alone the fact that the Earth Palace was just a training ground in the Primal Chaos Pagoda. However, in the land of fortune of the Earth Palace, a young paragon who had been in the cultivation world for more than 5 years was being created. Boom! The gathering place of the Xuanhuan roots was filled with the vast great Tao of the universe's origins. This place was like a majestic projection of the universe that was condensed here. It emitted an indescribable pressure that was enough to crush trillions of living beings. Su Yan sat there without moving. He had been comprehending the changes of the universe on a deep level all this time. The universe was too mysterious and majestic. It was difficult to pry into its origins. It was unimaginably majestic. Now, Su Yan was comprehending the universe's origins. It was equivalent to comprehending the universe's highest profundities. One could imagine how difficult it was. Of course, this was a fortuitous encounter that no one dared to imagine. During this process, Su Yan's primordial spirit was tempered to become increasingly powerful. His soul energy was full, and after absorbing the Xuanhuan roots, Su Yan's primordial spirit was able to contend with the primordial spirits of peerless kings. Kacha! On this day, cracks suddenly appeared on the lifeblood artifact that was silently enduring the tempering of the Xuanhuan roots. Su Yan's lifeblood artifact showed signs of exploding. His lifeblood artifact was forged from the heaven-suppressing stone and Kuan Peng stone. However, even the rough embryo of a supreme treasure would not be hard enough to contend with the universe's origins. However, Su Yan's lifeblood artifact that was about to shatter suddenly blazed with a terrifying, ferocious aura. Boom! His lifeblood artifact shone, interweaving with resplendent Tao marks. It had many forms like a cauldron, a pagoda, a sword, a saber, a heavenly spear, a Tao bell. Just as it was about to shatter, a terrifying, ferocious aura gushed out from his lifeblood artifact. What was this? This was the artifact's soul that Su Yan had nurtured through 5 years of bloody battles. Now, it was burning on its own, causing the lifeblood artifact to shine. The scriptures that Su Yan had painstakingly carved into it were all revived. It was operating on its own, as if it had given birth to a true artifact spirit. It contained Su Yan's essence, energy, and soul. Without a doubt, Su Yan's lifeblood artifact had transformed. The broken artifact shined as it swallowed the Xuanhuan roots. After being nourished by the universe's origins, Su Yan's lifeblood artifact had become a great deal more terrifying. What a joke! After being nourished by the universe's origins, it was on the verge of becoming the universe's origin artifact. This also caused Su Yan's lifeblood artifact to become extremely heavy in a short period of half a month. It could emit the power of the great Tao at every turn. Moreover, the various artifact forms it had evolved were more realistic and filled with a transcendent charm. In the end, after another 10 days, Su Yan's lifeblood artifact had completed its transformation. It sat on top of Su Yan's head, gushing with the light of the great Tao and rippling with divine power. It seemed as if it was about to transform into a heavenly king. Boom! It underwent countless transformations, and in the end, it transformed into a cauldron. It was like the cauldron of the universe, heavy, majestic, vast, grand, and magnificent. It revealed the majesty and aura of an artifact, and it could easily suppress the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains. The artifact resonated with Su Yin, and Su Yin was suddenly awakened. His eyes were sharp as he stared at the artifact. He pondered for a moment and finally said, "Since the technique I created is the cosmic fist, then this artifact that has been bathed in the universe's origins shall be called a cosmic soldier." A cosmic soldier had an artifact's soul. It hummed softly and emitted a majestic will, as if it wanted to compete with the universe. Suyin also emitted a similar aura. He smiled. "After being bathed in the universe's origins, my heart and vision have become completely different. It seems that my creation has come to an end." He stood up. His eyes were as deep as the pitch-black universe. It was difficult to see what he was thinking. Finally, his divine eyes saw that there were two space-time tunnels in the space-time. One path led to the outside world. The other path led to the depths. There are more trials in the depths. Su Yin was secretly shocked. How many trials were there in the Hell Hall? Was it the end, or was it a new world? But in the end, Su Yin gave up. He said in a deep voice, "I have a premonition that something has happened outside. I can't continue like this. My friends and family are still waiting for me outside. I have to meet them." Chapter 1148. Su Yin's body began to glow, surging with the light of the great Tao. He was like a condensed universe that towered between the heavens and earth, filled with an extremely heavy strength. "I wonder just how strong I am now," Su Yin thought to himself. He clenched his fists, his entire body brimming with the tyrannical strength of a heavenly deity. He could erupt with a world-shaking combat strength not inferior to a king-level expert. With a raise of his hand, he could suppress the entire Qiankuan world. Su Yin could sense his own tyrannical strength. He had cultivated in the Primal Chaos Pagoda for 5 or 6 years, perfecting his foundation and truly walking on the path of a universe. Once he opened the path of a king, his foundation would sublimate, and he believed he would directly become a peerless king-level expert. The Divine King path is already very close to me. Once I leave seclusion, I can choose to break through at any time. However, I'll still go to the immortal graveyard first." Su Yin chuckled. His face seemed to have experienced the vicissitudes of life. 5 years of bloody battles had forged an invincible heart in Su Yin. At the same time, it had also made him more mature and capable of dealing with any disaster. Thinking back on these 5 years, he felt that it had passed by very quickly, but it was also very sad. Then it's time to go. It's time to go out and verify just how strong my path is. Su Yin patrolled this place where the universe's source energy gathered. This was a place of good fortune that the people of the world desired. He bathed in the profound yellow root and comprehended the changes of the universe. In truth, if he stayed here for a long time, Su Yin would definitely become stronger. However, building a cart behind closed doors wasn't the path that Su Yin wanted to walk. There were still challenges waiting for him outside. Su Yin was especially looking forward to seeing the children of Taboo, the mysterious life form of the Dark Nether race, the ancestral halls Zhu Tian, and the other powerhouses that had risen and fallen through the years. Of course, Su Yin wouldn't leave just like this. He suddenly stretched out his hand, wanting to take away a portion of the profound yellow root. The value of this item was simply too high. It was impossible to find it in the outside world. If he didn't take some away, it would be a complete waste. Buzz! Su Yin stretched out his hand and grabbed onto the profound yellow roots. His strength instantly erupted, wanting to suppress a large number of profound yellow roots. However, the result caused Su Yin's expression to change. No matter how strong his strength was, these profound yellow roots were like true dragons that floated between heaven and earth. How can this be? I can't suppress it. I can absorb and refine this thing. So how can I not suppress it? Su Yin's aura rose sharply, and in a split second, he became completely different. His entire body emitted a cosmic light that overflowed into the heavens. He had even slaughtered a true dragon before. So, could it be that he couldn't even bring away a portion of the mysterious yellow root? Even if he could only bring away a single one. However, When Su Yin unleashed his full potential, he smiled bitterly. The mysterious yellow root was connected to this space-time. Suddenly, he felt as if this space-time had been revived, turning into a grand universe. It released an unimaginable suppressive force, flowing with the terrifying power of the great Tao. Alas, Su Yin let out a long sigh. He couldn't take away the good fortune here. He could only refine it himself. But if he wanted to take it away, it was impossible. If he tried to forcefully take it away, he would suffer the suppression of the mysterious yellow world. Even a supreme being would be shocked to death, much less Su Yin, who had yet to step into the realm of the Divine King. The good fortune is over. Let's go. Su Yin wasn't too disappointed. The reason he was able to obtain the baptism of the mysterious yellow root was because of his own efforts. The 5 years of Hell Temple's sacrifice allowed Su Yin to have the qualifications to bathe in this good fortune. If he could take away the mysterious yellow root, this good fortune would have ceased to exist long ago. I don't know why, but a massive amount of the universe's source energy is in the Chaos Pagoda. Could it be that it is, as the people say, that the Chaos Pagoda is the universe's source treasure? Su Yan's. He glanced at a space-time tunnel that led to the depths of the Chaos Pagoda. He really didn't know what he would encounter if he entered, but Su Yin didn't want to continue. He directly stepped onto the path back. The moment he stepped inside, Su Yin felt the stars shift. He was far away from the Chaos Pagoda's good fortune. In the blink of an eye, the world in front of Su Yin changed drastically. First, he had an illusion that he had become a little weak. At this moment, he felt a kind of pressure, a pressure that originated from the universe's environment. Under this magnificent environment, Su Yin didn't have the qualifications to resist. His aura was suppressed by a lot. I'm out. Su Yan's hands trembled slightly. He had a feeling that he hadn't felt in a long time. He had come out. It had been 5 or 6 years. He had come out of the Chaos Pagoda and arrived in the outside world. Su Yin raised his head and looked at the sky. He felt that the world was a little gloomy. His most direct intuition was that the universe was extremely declining. It was as if it had entered its later years and was about to die of old age. It's only been a few years. The universe has actually weakened to such an extent. Su Yin took a deep breath. Perhaps it was because of the baptism of the universe's origin, but Su Yin was extremely sensitive to the changes in the universe. It was much weaker than before he had entered. When the universe has declined to the extreme, that is to say, the universe might die. At that time, the universe that was sealed by our race will be unsealed. Once that day comes, an era where the taboo will run rampant under the heavens will appear. That day is already very close to us. Su Yin clenched his fists. His eyes were blazing like torches. He had to speed up. At the same time, Su Yin was also confident that he would immediately break through to the Divine King realm. In a short few years, he might even step into the peak of the Divine King realm. This place isn't suitable for me to break through. Su Yan's eyes scanned the surroundings. He noticed that some people were paying attention to him. He even noticed that there were very few experts gathered in the Chaos Pagoda. What was going on? This person is really unlucky. I don't know what he encountered in the trial space. His entire body is covered in blood. I can't even distinguish his appearance. Now, there are many young experts who have lost their will to fight in the immortal graveyard. They have returned to the Chaos Pagoda in hopes of obtaining the inheritance. But how can the inheritance here be obtained so easily? Not everyone is like the firmament body. He broke through 4 sky gates in succession. The surrounding discussions made Su Yin look up to the sky and laugh loudly. His figure also disappeared with a rumble. Who is he? In the Chaos Pagoda's region, the faces of some old Divine King experts changed. Su Yan's laughter reverberated in the Qian Kuan world. It shook their blood and qi to the point that their eyes turned black. They were all aghast. Could this be a young Divine King? Just as laughter alone was enough to make them feel like their bodies were about to explode. Some experts felt that this person's identity was no small matter and wanted to chase after him to investigate. However, Su Yin had already disappeared without a trace. He turned into a bolt of golden lightning. His body traversed across the universe. His speed was extremely fast. Every step he took covered the sky and the earth. It was as if he had crossed a large region. What a terrifying aura remnant. Who was that person? His speed of crossing space is too fast. Could it be a young king who has been trapped in a chaos pagoda for a long time? He's definitely not ordinary. The number of young kings trapped in there is very limited. Those with this kind of combat strength are pitifully few. What do you think? Could it be the missing Su Xianren? At this point, they all fell silent. Su Yan had already been in the Hall of Earth for 5 or 6 years. Even if he could come out alive, the world had changed. It was no longer Su Xianren's era, nor was it the era where he could rebuke the world. The immortal graveyard was not close to the Chaos Pagoda. With Su Yan's speed, he spent nearly 3 days and 3 nights before finally arriving at the region where the immortal graveyard was located. In truth, Su Yan hadn't seen it yet, but he could already sense the existence of the immortal graveyard. In the declining universe ahead, there was an astonishing cosmic aura emanating from it. It was vast and boundless. This was definitely the immortal graveyard. It was known as the world of history, a corner of the complete world. The people of the world didn't know how the immortal graveyard was formed, but this world of history was vast and boundless. It was the gathering place of fortune. Now that the universe's environment was declining and the universe was about to return to its prehistoric state, the immortal graveyard was too important to the people of the world. If they could unearth the prehistoric orthodoxies, they would definitely be able to rise up in the future and continue the glory of the race. Very soon, Su Yan arrived at his destination. There were large space-time rifts in front of him, emitting an ancient aura and dense fluctuations of time. Numerous space-time rifts ran through tens of thousands of miles and were hidden in the depths of space-time. They had now become space-time tunnels that could be followed into the immortal graveyard. Where's that seed? Su Yan muttered to himself. He had once been lucky enough to see the mysterious seed in the immortal graveyard. The various races hailed it as the strongest fortune in history. Was it a supreme substance that was suspected to be a seed? After more than 10 years, the immortal graveyard had changed. From the space-time rifts, one could see the magnificent rivers and mountains inside, the vast territory. There was even a kind of earth-shattering great Tao aura that surged out, representing completeness and flawlessness. When these wisps of aura rushed toward Su Yan, his battle prowess blazed and shone. He was about to revive from his decline. Buzz, especially between Su Yan's eyebrows, a mysterious seal that had disappeared for a long time appeared, as if it had resonated with the immortal graveyard. As expected, it's a world left behind by the immortal star. Su Yan looked up to the sky and laughed. Immortal graveyard, I'm coming. Swoosh! Su Yan tore through the air like lightning, the blood in his body surging. His speed was astonishing. Some of the big shots at the entrance of the immortal graveyard only caught a ray of blood and then saw this figure penetrate into the space-time rift. It's like a king. A half-grand cultivator's pupils suddenly shrank. He said, "Young king, it's a pity that the environment of the immortal graveyard is too suppressive. Many experts have just entered, and their auras have declined beyond recognition. The divine king is no exception. Half a year has passed. Some people have made it through. Their comprehension is especially amazing, and their battle prowess has become stronger. However, most of them have lost a lot of their battle prowess. Very few cultivators can make it through. It's said that Xiao Ming of the sealed heaven domain has made it through. There are vague auras of the grand cultivators leaking out several times. He's about to break through." The experts here were speechless. Someone whispered, "Xiao Ming has really continued his glory by breaking through in the complete environment of the immortal graveyard. Once this person steps into the grand cultivator realm, it will be enough to shock all sects." His luck has changed. Some experts of the sealed heaven domain also laughed. Xiao Ming's breakthrough had already begun. In less than half a month, he would definitely succeed.